what you do to me. Our love was meant to be. You were made for every time I see you. I get this feeling. Hey, hey, hey. Telling me you are the one. Oh, what a feeling. Hey, hey, hey. Mm, mm, mm. What's happening? Uh, what's happening? Couch Merlot in the building. What it do? What's cracking? What's cracking? Ain't shit. You hear me? You know what I'm saying? You hear me? Uh, it's a lot going on, man. We gonna get into this, man. We gonna get into it though. You heard me? It's up tonight, man. It's up. The only question is, can I stay up? It's up though. It's up. But can I stay up? It's up tonight. It's cracking. Oh man, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. It's up tonight.
And we begin with new information tonight about the officers who were shot in South Fulton County. Good evening. I'm George Estevez.
Hello, I'm Wendy Corona, and here is the latest. We now have photos of both police officers who were shot this morning. South Fulton Police Lieutenant Charles Cook is in critical condition at Grady Memorial Hospital. He's there on the right. And we've also learned Fulton County Police Officer Zahir Mueed has been released from the hospital and is now recovering at home.
Also, we now know Rashawn Cofield was the suspect who was killed. The deadly shootout happened before noon after one of the officers stopped Cofield near I-20 as he crossed Fulton Industrial Boulevard.
Rashawn Cofield, man. Okay, so we got a brother and a white man working together to kill a brother, man. That's crazy, man. You helped him kill one of your brothers, man.
Hospital and is now recovering at home.
Also, we now know Rashawn Cofield was the suspect who was killed. The deadly shootout happened before noon after one of the officers stopped Cofield near I-20 as he crossed Fulton Industrial Boulevard. That road was closed for nearly 10 hours while detectives gathered evidence. Well, tonight, that road, Fulton Industrial, reopened just in the past 2 hours.
Channel 2's Courtney Francisco is live at Grady Memorial Hospital. That's where Lieutenant Cook is recovering tonight. Courtney.
Wendy, his police chief told us he was shot at least 3 times, and we've seen officers in and out of the front doors here throughout the night checking on him. His family is here. We were here when paramedics showed up with a police escort. Then we checked back in at the spot where the shooting happened.
Sunset Friday, we saw investigators were still blocking 8 lanes of traffic, gathering evidence connected to the deadly shootout.
I got up under a car.
Chuck Stevens was one of several people who saw it happen just before lunch. Some were too shaken to talk on camera.
Heard the gunshots, looked at the door. The guy, he was out there, just dead.
Georgia Bureau of Investigation said his name was Rashawn Cofield, 29 years old, from Atlanta.
He doesn't really hang around here much. We have seen him and stuff, but he was being sighted in the middle of the median.
Agents say Cofield was...
What a waste of some good white skin, man. You could have went places with that white skin, bro. The fuck happened, man?
In the middle of the median.
Agents say Cofield was standing on a median in the middle of Fulton Industrial Boulevard, a busy spot near...
Fuck is the Blues Brothers down this motherfucker?
Standing on a median in the middle of Fulton Industrial Boulevard, a busy spot near Interstate 20, around 11:40 in the morning. That's when Fulton County police officer Zahir Mewid stopped him. South Fulton Police Lieutenant Charles Cook happened to be passing and stopped to assist. Detectives say the pair realized Cofield was wanted, and as they started to arrest him, they say he pulled out his pistol, ran, and started shooting.
I ran, got up under the car. Well, he was trying to shoot me, but he was trying to shoot everybody over there.
People watching took cover and said they saw Lieutenant Cook fall down.
He was down on the ground. He was, crying, calling out for help. And all I could do at that point was just say a prayer because the gunman was still shooting at other people.
Agents said Officer Mewid ran after Cofield, returning fire. Bullets hit them both. Cofield died. Officer Mewid is okay.
The conversation that I had with him, he was grateful that Lieutenant Cook was able to stop.
As police wrapped up before dark, some neighbors were left worried for their safety.
Had me thinking twice.
Others said this is a reminder police are here patrolling.
They're doing their job. I hate to see that had happened.
Back out live with Channel 2's Courtney Francisco at Grady Memorial Hospital. And Courtney, so the next step we understand now is an autopsy on Cofield by the Fulton County Medical Examiner's Office.
That's the next step. And then the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, they take the lead on this. That's standard in shootings involving police. And then agents give their findings to the district attorney, who decides if shooting was justified. Wendy?
All right, just so glad that those officers are okay tonight. Courtney, thank you.
It was back in February when a Burlington County man was brutally attacked and stabbed at a bar. Police say the assault in Collingswood was totally unprovoked, but the victim's life will never be the same. Action News reporter Caroline Goggin is live outside of Cooper University Hospital in Camden with that story. Caroline.
Rick, that victim is 30-year-old Dan Walker. His best friend told me tonight that the doctors here at Cooper Medicine saved his life back in February. And now as he continues to recover, members of the community are rallying around him. Tonight, Dan Walker is back at home after spending more than a month in the hospital fighting for his life.
This is just the next step for him, and he's got a million more to go.
The South Jersey native was stabbed in late February at the Raccoon Tap Room in Collingswood. Police say a 27-year-old man stabbed him in an unprovoked attack. That suspect.
A 27-year-old man stabbed him in an unprovoked attack at the Raccoon Tap Room. Tap rooms usually seem like they mostly like glider clientele, man. But when they say unprovoked attack, unprovoked attack make you start thinking like, yo, that might have been a Sunman, man. We the king of unprovoked attacks. Make sure y'all support the channel via PayPal, Cash App, or the Super Chat, man. Make sure y'all hit the liketh button, man. Hit the liketh button. Liketh the video.
Raccoon Tap Room in Collingswood. Police say a 27-year-old man stabbed him in an unprovoked attack. That suspect is now facing charges.
The feeling is even feeling it.
The suspect is now facing charges. Where's the suspect? Well, y'all better show us that damn suspect or we won't think it's a Sunman. Press 1. Y'all better show us that suspect, but we ain't got no choice but to think it's the son, man.
Stabbed in late February at the Raccoon Tap Room in Collingswood. Police say a 27-year-old man stabbed him in an unprovoked attack. That suspect is now facing charges.
The feeling is, even feeling it again now, right? It feels shocking that we're in this situation.
Marcus Latirzo is one of Walker's best friends. They met as freshmen at the College of New Jersey. He says as of now, Walker, who was training for a strongman competition, is paralyzed from the chest down.
He does not have movement in his legs, anything below the chest. So I will say that through the rehab that he's been undergoing, he has been regaining some capabilities of feelings.
But the 30-year-old has a long road ahead of him. And because of that, Latirzo launched a fundraiser. He says Walker's story does not end here, that his next chapter is filled with resilience, hope, and the support that is already being shown through every donation and kind message.
Dan is very much loved, and he's been feeling that since this occurred. And I think it's going to be compounding every single time he looks at that number go up.
And that fundraiser, which was just launched yesterday, has raised more than $32,000 so far for Walker and his family. We are live tonight in Camden, New Jersey. I'm Caroline Goggin, Channel 6 Action News. Rick.
Caroline.
Who stabbed this guy, man? Why y'all ain't show us the picture of the dude who stabbed him, man? Okay. Here we go. Here we go. I got the name. Let's see, man. Let's see what if we can find in there. Find a picture, man. Let's see if we can find a picture. I found a picture. I found a picture, man. I found a picture, man. I found a picture. This is the guy who stabbed him right here. Taha El Moghazi. Taha El Moghazi. Goddamn, either a desert demon. I think that's a desert demon. Taha. But that first name sounds like you're fucking Samoan, man. Taha sounds like a Samoan name, man. Everybody, we getting into Karmelo soon, man. We getting to Karmelo soon. Very soon we're gonna get into the Karmelo story. We just gotta make sure we gonna get into it. Trust me. Taha El Moghazi.
Thank you for that report.
Campus chaos at Temple University as 7 people are arrested and even students were attacked. University officials say they're looking into 3 assaults, one of them involving a student, the other 2 not connected with the school but do involve juveniles. This comes a day after Temple says 3 of their...
What they won't tell you, and what I found out on Twitter, is that these was all the black kids was going around beating the shit out of white people. It was Beat Whitey night this weekend in Philadelphia, man. It was Beat Whitey night. So this is what the news ain't showing you. It was Beat Whitey night, man. See that white guy in the middle there? He's getting his ass kicked. I don't want to show you too much. I just want to let you get the gist of it. Yeah, beat Whitey night, man. It was beat Whitey night, and I wonder what Jeff Metcalf thinks about that, man. Yeah, black kids were going around kicking the shit out of white people this weekend in Philadelphia. So let's see the way they report it. And make sure y'all support the channel, man. Support the channel. Deacons, lock the doors, man. Deacons, lock the doors. Time to lock the doors, man. Lock the doors, deacons. Lock all the doors. Go ahead and lock the doors.
Campus chaos at Temple University as 7 people are arrested and even students were attacked. University officials say they're looking into 3 assaults, one of them involving a student, the other 2 not connected with the school but do involve juveniles. This comes a day after Temple says 3 of their students were hurt last night in a similar incident. NBC 10's Lily Zhang is in North Philly with the latest.
In this video uploaded onto Citizen, police cars swarmed North Broad Street Saturday night. Temple sophomore Tony McRae says he saw some of the commotion from his room.
I was watching it from my window on like the 9th floor. It was pretty like crazy. Like it was just a lot of like I guess high schoolers on campus
beating the shit out of white people.
The university confirms multiple people were arrested Saturday night. This was after they say a large group of unsupervised juveniles became disorderly. Students tell NBC 10 they received an alert from the school.
It was strange how they used the word large gathering. I was just confused about it, but like, I was just like, what does that quantify as?
Temple authorities did not specify exactly how many were a part of that gathering or how many have been arrested. They did confirm one Temple student was assaulted in connection near the residence hall, Temple Towers, another by 12th and Montgomery. A third student was reportedly pushed to the ground. In this letter to the student body, Temple further added the incident was, quote, unacceptable.
A lot of times it's not people that like go here. It's like usually people that are younger or like older. So I just wish they kind of had like a place to go that wasn't in the middle of campus and that kind of like disrupts the flow of everything.
Temple senior.
Seems like a nice girl, man. What do you think she would sound like if a group of white teens had gone around and beating the shit out of black people? What do you think her demeanor would be like if a group of white teens had gone around beating the shit out of black people?
Sometimes it's not people that like go here. It's like usually people that are younger or like older. So I just wish they kind of had like a place to go that wasn't in the middle of campus and that kind of like disrupts the flow of everything.
Temple senior Alexis Good says she generally does not feel unsafe on campus.
I'm one of those people, I don't go out like late unless I'm in a group of people. So that helps. And I'm really big on like, I will take an Uber so fast if I need to go somewhere.
Others say they are aware of their surroundings.
If you see something happening, like, just know your ways around it. And I feel like, and I feel like Temple's on their utmost at least to like help with all these type of situations.
In North Philly, Lily Zhang, NBC 10.
Says something high. He probably is high. That man probably is high.
Lily Zhang, NBC 10
Hit the
News.
like button.
Now at 10, Temple University students assaulted after groups of teenagers began causing mayhem around campus, leading police to disperse the crowds. This is the 10 o'clock news. I'm Jennifer Lee. Temple University's Department of Public Safety says this week is spring break for local K through 12 students, and given past events, additional teams of police officers were deployed from Temple and Philadelphia police. They say arrests were made as the crowd became unruly, but police are still looking for the ones involved in the student attacks. Joanne Pileggi live for us tonight. And Joanne, a lot of students tell you that they're concerned for their safety after this.
That's right, Jennifer. And they were chased away by police when a disorderly crowd of teens gathered here at Temple last night. And tonight, another crowd had gathered here, but police showed up right away to send a strong message. More than a dozen Philly police officers on motorcycle cruise along Cecil B. Moore near Broad Street after a second night where a large crowd of teenagers gathered.
I think it does need to change in some ways. It's kind of a safety hazard for students, and other people who live around here.
Temple students reacting after watching crowds of teenagers who Temple police described as disorderly gathered on campus last night.
People running around, just loud noises, and yeah, it was pretty crowded on the streets. And I'm just walking, go to one of the stores, and I just see a bunch of craziness, like kids running amok, going wild, and yeah, it's insane.
The university sent out an alert to students to avoid the area near Broad and Cecil B. Moore.
Usually around like the weekends, a lot of big groups of high schoolers come around, and they kind of just, I don't know, I wouldn't say cause a scene, but there's just a lot of them.
Students shared their cell phone video with us. One student told me his friend, a Temple senior, was knocked off his bike and ended up at the hospital. The university said there were several arrests and 3 Temple students were injured. Freshman Tio Strand grabbed this video from his dorm room.
So I was about to go outside and eat, but I got a little bit scared, to be honest, so just stayed inside because you never know.
The university said incidents like tonight's are unacceptable. While we had no advance warning of tonight's gathering, TU DPS has been in regular contact with PPD regarding planned and unannounced juvenile gatherings. So we received an email at our news desk tonight from a concerned parent who was concerned enough to say she didn't want to send her student back to campus tonight. However, there have been a barrage of police, Temple University police, Philadelphia police, saturating this area to try to make sure an incident like last night's doesn't happen again. We're live in North Philly. I'm Joanne Pileggi, Fox 29 News.
Thank you, Joanne.
Tonight, no parole for Bunny Holmes. She's the woman convicted of orchestrating a murder in Huntington in 2004.
Yeah, she was originally sentenced to life with mercy, meaning she was eligible for parole after 15 years. That parole hearing took place last month, and Holmes was granted parole. But as discovered in WSAZ investigation, the Cabell County prosecutor said a scheduling error by the Department of Corrections led to an early parole for Holmes.
Anything to say to the Morgan family?
Shirlethia Bunny Holmes was stone silent from the moment she arrived and all
Shirlethia.
throughout the proceedings she had hoped would ultimately lead to her freedom.
Would you like to say anything to family members at all?
Instead, Cabell County Circuit Judge Chad Lovejoy ruled that Holmes is not eligible for parole until November of 2026.
She was getting credit. She was serving a federal sentence. She doesn't get 2 bites at the apple just for committing 2 crimes.
Holmes was convicted of ordering a hit on Wendy Morgan in 2004 and sent.
You white folk, we be goddamn, man. We be tearing you white folks out the frame, man.
Holmes was convicted of ordering a hit on Wendy Morgan in 2004 and sentenced to life with mercy, making her eligible for parole in 15 years. Exactly when the clock started ticking on those 15 years was the question behind the current legal proceedings. Holmes' attorney pointed to a resentencing hearing 2 years after her conviction, where Judge Alfred Ferguson, who presided over the Wendy Morgan case, said Bunny should be given credit for any time served for the murder.
You agree with me, the court speaks through its orders, right?
Absolutely.
So what is meant from this court is what is put down in those orders, right?
But prosecutor Jason Spears brought Judge Ferguson out of retirement and up on the stand, where he reiterated his original ruling that Bunny's prison term would begin only after she had already finished serving her time on federal drug charges in November of 2011.
Do you recall what your order was related to when she would serve her time and conviction on the murder?
Certainly, yeah. Well, she had a prior conviction in federal court, understood was drugs, and she was serving that sentence at that time.
That means Bunny's hearing in March, in which she was granted parole, is null and void. She'll have to do it all over again in November of 2026. The judge's decision obviously satisfied the prosecution's request regarding the Morgan case, but investigators say Bunny was also the focus of an investigation into the deaths of 4 teens in the 2005 prom night murders. Even
Damn. They say she killed these teens too, man, but they couldn't prove it. She ain't leave no witnesses on this one. She killed all the witnesses, so they couldn't solve this one. Shout out to Bunny, man. God damn, Bunny. Shirlethia.
in the 2005 prom night murders, even though she was never charged.
Until I get to go to court and get some justice for my child, I'm never going to sleep on it.
And by the way, Wendy Morgan's aunt told us, even though it was so hard to have to go back and relive one of the hardest times in our family's lives, the relief I felt when I walked out was worth the sadness. I thank everyone who worked so hard to see that justice was served. Bunny Holmes' parole, as we say, denied today based on that miscalculation. What comes next, though, for Holmes?
It is a big question left to answer. Kimberly Kege is here now with a breakdown of what is to come and why Kimberly, the prosecuting attorney, says change needs to happen statewide.
So the order today, as Cabell County prosecuting attorney Jason Spears phrased it, resets the clock as it was intended by law. And let's go ahead and revisit the timeline of how we got here, though. Shirlethia Bunny Holmes was convicted of ordering a hit on Wendy Morgan in 2004 and sentenced to life with mercy, meaning she would have been eligible for parole in 15 years. Holmes was granted parole last month, but prosecutors argued that because she was in federal prison at the time of that conviction, she didn't begin serving time for the Morgan case until 2011. And with that in mind, she will not be eligible for parole until November of 2026. And when that time comes, Holmes will have to have another parole hearing. And that's really important to point out here because the order does not say her release will be delayed until November. Instead, Holmes will have to remain in jail and serve the remainder of her sentence and apply for a new parole hearing in November 2026. Prosecuting attorney of Cabell County, Jason Spears, says he does intend to talk with state lawmakers about what he calls a need for a better system when it comes.
Follows the law and follows the.
But we begin in court today with 2 people bound over to stand trial in the terrifying attack on a Washtenaw County foster family. Thank you for joining us for 7 News Detroit at 5. I'm Glenda Lewis.
I'm Simon Chiquette. It's a disturbing case we've been following since the tragedy on New Year's Day. A mother and her father killed, a husband shot and wounded, and 2 children kidnapped. This happened in Northfield Township.
Well, today, that wounded father taking the stand in a preliminary hearing for 2 suspects. The hearing went on for hours.
7 News Detroit reporter Darren Cunningham was in the courtroom. And Darren, you spoke one-on-one with the father about how he's coping with this tragedy.
Jeffrey Bernard tells me he is bracing for a long haul, knowing that this is just a preliminary hearing. But he tells me he is doing what is necessary to get justice for his family.
When I asked if she said anything about killing or did she have the intent or wanted to kill them, he did tell me that she made statements that she was going there to kill them.
Jeff Bernard listened from the gallery as Sergeant James Basso with Northfield Township Police Department testified about his interactions with co-defendants Gregory Calhan and Keith Finley. 2 of the people accused of breaking into Bernard's home New Year's Day. The third suspect, Siobhan Vincent, was not in court, but she's accused of masterminding the home invasion. Bernard was the first to take the stand, having to relive the horror he experienced that night.
I mean, it's been okay simply because.
Let me guess, he forgives them. Press 1. He forgives them, y'all.
Having to relive the horror he experienced that night.
I mean, it's been okay simply because part of processing this, talking to a psychologist, and so I've been talking a lot about this over the last 3.5 months.
He recalled 3 people breaking into his Northfield Township home through the front door, making demands for cash and for a child. That child is Bernard's foster daughter, who he and his wife Jennifer were in the process of adopting. Suspect Siobhan.
So this little chocolate girl right here was their foster kid. And the woman who broke into the house with those 2 niggas was the real mom, was the biological mom of this foster kid.
Making demands for cash and for a child. That child is Bernard's foster daughter, who he and his wife Jennifer were in the process of adopting. Suspect Siobhan Vincent is the biological mother and the alleged shooter of the 3 victims. Bernard recalled hearing his wife Jennifer's screams that night and said he knew she was dead the moment he looked at her after she was shot. His father-in-law, Stevie Ray Smith, was also shot and killed. Bernard was shot in his side and his face, losing sight in his right eye. He woke up and managed to make it to his neighbor's home for help, starting the...
Jesus Christ, man. Make sure y'all support the channel, man. Let's see if we can get some people to plant some seeds around here, man. Plant some seeds in the Ock Nation. Pause. Plant some seeds in the Ock Nation. Come on, y'all, plant some seeds in Ock Nation, man. Hit the like button. How many likes do we have? Yeah, this is crazy. Every story is like black people fucking white people up, man. God damn, man.
Police investigation.
There's some moments that, to relive that are hard, very hard when it comes to my wife and my daughter and the whole situation. But I understand that has to be done to move forward.
Officers testified to catching the suspects in Ypsilanti Township that evening. They recovered Bernard's biological 9-year-old daughter, as well as his foster daughter, both physically unharmed. Investigators said several weapons, as well as stolen phones, credit cards, and jewelry belonging to the victims were recovered from the vehicle. Vincent allegedly wired money from Bernard's account to her son. The one face not present in the courtroom, suspect Siobhan Vincent. The prosecutor told me that Vincent is not a part of this preliminary exam because she has a competency exam in May. Reporting outside Washtenaw District Court.
Oh, so she gonna act like she not competent to stand trial.
Cam 7, News Detroit.
Jeez.
Thank you, Darren.
I don't see that glad to forgive her.
Pistol whipped, brutally beaten, robbed at gunpoint. A pregnant mother says she survived it all after her dog bit a child. The violent attack happened at an apartment complex in Cooper Young. Now she's breaking her silence for the first time only with Fox 13 News. She spoke with Fox.
This for everybody who didn't see this last one. This is a doozy. You white people, woo! Man, listen, we gonna get into Karmelo in a minute, man. And this is just recent stuff. This ain't even like trying to look for nothing. This is just the algorithm, man. Niggas is violent towards white people. The end, man. And listen, white people have been violent towards black people. White people have been violent towards a lot of people. But this is society. This is within the framework of society. This is not like countries taking over other countries or tribes taking over other tribes or nations taking over other nations. This is within the framework of a society, multicultural society, man. This is the framework of a society. We're all living together in society. We're not at war. We're just living together in society, and this is what's happening.
Fox 13's Sierra Jordan.
The mother is still shaken up after being attacked by two armed teenagers. Now, she wants to be anonymous to protect her identity. She told me she's 6 months pregnant and thankful she didn't lose the baby during the violent attack.
I thought I was going to die right then and there.
This pregnant mother of two says it all started Sunday afternoon, just before 4 at the Cooper Young Apartments. Her boyfriend was walking their dog on a leash when a child approached and was bitten by the dog. Memphis fire crews arrived to treat the boy. About an hour later, she came home hoping to apologize to the child's family. But instead of a conversation, she says it escalated into a violent attack.
A car pulled up. 2 men hopped out with masks and guns, asking me where my boyfriend was and where the dog was that bit his little brother. I said, I don't have anything. I set my stuff on the ground. I just got off work. I'm pregnant. I don't care, is what they said.
The victim says her boyfriend was inside their apartment with their kids when the armed teenagers in ski masks approached her in a black Nissan Altima. Police say she ran through the courtyard trying to get away, but they caught up to her in a stairwell.
I got knocked in the head and they started beating me with their guns over and over, at least 25 times. I stayed curled up in a ball as close as I could, knees to my chest, so they couldn't even harm my child.
Police say the armed teen stole
I got robbed and pistol whipped before. Nigga hit me one time, though. He only hit me one time with the joint, man. She got hit 25 times? Jesus Christ, my God. Jesus Christ. 25 times.
Wow. I got knocked in the head and they started beating me with their guns over and over, at least 25 times. I stayed curled up in a ball as close as I could, knees to my chest, so they couldn't even harm my child.
Police say the armed teen stole the victim's iPhone and purse. They say the armed teens took off in a black Nissan Altima. Officers tried to pull them over before the robbery was reported, but they say the driver sped off. Now, with her third child on the way, the victim says security at the complex needs to improve.
The cameras were not even running. The gates are not functional how they're supposed to be. So I just need to relocate my entire family and my family to be to a more safer area.
Memphis police are still searching for the two armed teenagers. If you have information related to what happened here, reach out to Crime Stoppers at 901-528-CASH. The family created a GoFundMe to find a new place to call home. In Memphis, Sierra Jordan, Fox 13 News.
All right, man. Let's get into this Karmelo, man. Shout out to Karmelo, man. Let's get into this, man. Unfortunately, man, I hate to say it, man. Your boy is cooked, man. Your boy Karmelo is cooked.
Self-defense. Why'd you discard it?
Okay? Your boy Karmelo is cooked.
I'm here today to talk about a very hot button case. How you doing today, Mike?
I am absolutely fantastic, like every day. And this is going to be an interesting one to talk about.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about this one. People know that our law firm handles exclusively self-defense cases. And so whenever there's a high-profile self-defense case, we're always on the lookout for it, and we love analyzing this stuff.
Yeah, it makes me really happy to say that. I mean, we are the only law firm in the nation, probably in the world, that does nothing but self-defense cases. So this is right in our backyard. Happy to talk about it.
I think we're also particularly well positioned to analyze this case, Mark, because as I mentioned in the little plug that I just did at the beginning, this case really has divided people and really about irrelevant things to the self-defense analysis. It seems to be, for example, politically divided right down the middle in terms of right of center and left of center. None of that stuff is relevant in our analysis.
Yeah, I think people who have been following us for some time know that we don't care about that stuff. We analyze it exactly the same. We don't care what color anybody is. Of course, if we were trying the case, it's something we got to consider because the population cares about such things. But the law is the law, and the law applies exactly the same way, regardless of what color someone's skin is or what sex they are. And that's how we analyze it. We refer to it as calling balls and strikes.
That's right. And people who have been watching our podcast for a while know that we are immune to blind allegiance to political parties. We oftentimes call this kind of dismissively, the R's and the D's are both up to different infringements of your freedom. We're pro-freedom. And so don't worry about political ideation creeping its way into this forthcoming, very objective legal analysis.
Yeah, same with police officers. We analyze those videos as well. And sometimes the police get it right. Sometimes they get it wrong. We're not on either side. I like to say we're very pro good cop and very anti bad cop. So getting that all out of the way, I think we should just analyze it in a strict legal sense.
Yes, and before we dive into the facts of the case, another really important thing that is not very fashionable these days, but we'll throw it out there, which is that people should wait to jump to judgment. We don't have all of the information
there.
Sure, yeah. The bond in this case was set to $1 million, which is not an unusual starting place for the charges, which are murder. And just recently, a couple at the school.
Yeah, he was involved in some kind of a fight. He wasn't convicted of anything. That's not enough of a sort of criminal history.
Well, there was only, before we move on to the facts, there was only one part of your description of the characteristics of Mr. Anthony that I disagree with, and it's because of a recent phenomenon. You mentioned he's young, he's got no priors, this, that, and the next thing, and he has no money. Well, as of recently, that's actually not the case,
Yeah,
Mark.
that's a
And
good point.
that's another thing that's getting people excited about the case, is that a massive defense fund has started for this guy, over $400,000 by my last. All right. So the facts, as recounted by the witnesses in the police report, are something as follows. It is a track meet, and Mr. Metcalf and Mr. Anthony are on opposing schools, opposing teams. It's not clear to me whether they were actually competing. I don't think they were competing that day. I think they were both there in support to kind of view the event. Now, the weather was bad that day. It was raining that day, and so the schools had set up little tents, and some of the tents were kind of set up to the side of the bleachers, and some of the tents were set up actually directly over the seats, the bleacher seats. And I think that's the location we're dealing with here. And so Mr. Anthony, I think maybe to get out of the rain, you know, it's pretty sympathetic, you know, to try to get out of the rain, went under this tent. That was not his tent. It wasn't his school's tent. And Mr. Metcalf, whose tent it was, who belonged to the proper school for that tent, went up to him and said, "Hey, man, this isn't your tent. You got to leave," and instructs him to leave. At that point, there's some tension in the air. And according to reports, Mr. Anthony says, "Touch me and see what happens. Touch me and see what happens." At that point, it sounds like Mr. Metcalf obliges him and touches him. Now, how he touches him, there's a couple of different witness statements that vary here. For example, one witness says that he put his hand on his shoulder. Another witness says he shoves him at that point, but he touches him, which we might call ordinary physical force, and we'll talk about that concept.
And I think, by the way, the twin brother says he didn't touch him at all. What he touched was his bag. He picked up his bag and tried to move his bag or something, said, you're leaving or something. but we could analyze all three of those possibilities.
Yeah, all differing witness statements, but we'll analyze each of those in turn. At any rate, after touching someone or something, Mr. Anthony reaches into his backpack, pulls out a black knife, and stabs Mr. Metcalf in the heart. One stab motion, and then at that point runs away with knife in hand, but then quickly ditches the knife basically there in the bleachers, ditches his bag there in the bleachers, and leaves the scene. And in the meantime, Mr. Metcalf tragically dies right there in his brother's arms, in his twin brother's arms, which is absolutely heartbreaking, obviously. And so at that point, Mr. Anthony runs and makes it to a fence line where a officer, a school resource officer, has been alerted of what's going on. It sounds like they were called. They came out. They saw him kind of on this fence line and yell out to him. And he turns around and he says,
Just the facts. You notice how the lawyers are just talking about the facts. They're not talking about anything that's on the internet. They're only talking about the police report. Just the facts. Watch this.
I was protecting myself. And so at that point, he was taken into custody and detained. It sounds like the school resource officer was communicating with another officer on his radio and said something to the extent of, I have the alleged suspect here with me. And then a spontaneous statement was made by Mr. Anthony, something to the extent of, not alleged suspect, I did it. And so at that point, the resource officer is kind of walking Mr. Anthony back over to where the action is. And during that walk, or maybe when they arrived there, there's a statement made by Mr. Anthony to the police officer, and it's in the form of a question, actually. It's, can what I did be considered self-defense? And so the resource officer basically responded, look, man, I don't even know what happened at this point. And so those are all the statements that we are aware of right now, and those are all the witness statements.
Apparently, Mr. Anthony has not watched any of our videos, and he hasn't heard us say any of the millions of times that we've said, just shut up. And he decides to make all these statements. As you mentioned, I was protecting myself. He put his hands on me, I think is another statement. He says, I'm not alleged. I did it. He put his hands on me. I told him not to. Is he going to be okay? Could it be considered self-defense? Well, he just took away a whole bunch of different possibilities of defenses right there. He admitted he was the person. He said he put his hands on me. That's what he said. He didn't say there was a whole group of them coming towards me. He didn't say, I thought he was reaching for something, a gun.
Okay? You see all the black people online talking about some Austin and Hunter jumped him. Austin and Hunter, the Metcalf boys. Immediately after the incident, Anthony never said that. Karmelo Anthony said he put his hands on me. Now he beat me up. Now he kicked my ass. Now he choked me out. Not he pushed me over the bleachers. Not he had me dazed and woozy. Not he put me in a bear hug. He, one person, put his hands on me. See, this is the thing that a lot of niggas don't understand. Niggas don't understand this stuff. In court, that's all they're going to talk about is the facts. Court is boring. Niggas watch too much Law and Order. Press 1. You niggers, you Negroes watch too much Law and Order. You need to start watching court TV and stop watching so much Law and Order, especially you black women. Oh my God, black women love Law and Order, man. That's a way to a black woman's heart. Get you the full set, the seasons of Law and Order. She'll never leave you, man. That's not how court is in real life. It's only about the facts. They're gonna be like, Carmelo Anthony's crew is gonna be like, yeah, it was the Metcalf boys, and the prosecutor's gonna be like, well, he said he. He never said they. He said he. He never said they. He said he. I fear for my life. That's not what you said. You said he put his hands on you. This is going to be this case is going to be shockingly fast. Niggas is gonna tune in and think and think this is gonna be like the OJ trial. This shit gonna be like 2 days, man. This case is gonna be like 2 days, man. This case is gonna be like 2 days, man. And then they gonna smoke his boots.
A knife, a bat, something like that. He didn't say. I was really worried because I was on the bleachers and I could fall and get hurt or get thrown off or something like that. Once you start talking, yes, what you say matters, but also what you didn't say matters, right? Because if you start adding.
Once you start talking, once you say matters, but what you didn't say matters.
Bleachers and I could fall and get hurt or get thrown off or something like that. Once you start talking, yes, what you say matters, but also what you didn't say matters, right? Because if you start adding facts later on, a year and a half, 2 years down the line, after your lawyers have been talking to you, after maybe that video comes out, witnesses come out, you start figuring out, maybe I got a problem here. Oh, yeah, by the way, this happened, that happened. You are going to give that prosecutor so much happiness and joy when you start throwing facts, when you're on the stand talking about what happened, saying, oh, yeah, there were other things that were really important here. And you can see that prosecutor sitting there licking their proverbial chops, just getting ready to get up there and rip this guy a new one. Folks, this is why you just shut up. How many times do we have to say it? Just shut up. I know.
Okay. Shout out to D from Boston, man. D from Boston in the building. Shout out to S Freak. S Freak in the building. What's happening? Shout out to Verdant Glider, man. He said 25 times is a rage beating. Yeah. Well, this is a regular beating. Baker Fresh says, I hear people pronounce Nigan all at once. Even more silly is sounding out the network. Network, Nigan, network. Nigga network. Salute to Kimmy, man. Shout out to Kimmy. Yeah, man. Make sure y'all support the channel. PayPal, Cash App, Super Chat. Listen, man. Your boy, this is not. Shout out to Barry B, man. Barry B in the building for the 100th night in a row, man. Listen, man. Let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something, son. Let me tell you something, son. This boy is cooked. His mouth cooked him too. His mouth, and listen, we see all the time little hood boogers from the ghettos of fucking Louisville, in the ghettos of Miami on fucking what's that show? First 48. We see all that shit, man. Them little fucking hood boogers snitching on themselves all the time. Karmelo, man, you said too much, man. You said too much. You said too much, Karmelo. You ran your mouth. You ran your mouth. Talk too goddamn much.
Other people give different advice. Don't listen to them.
No.
Don't listen to them. Again, the best advice is if you got a lawyer who you can call right away, like every AOR client can, you call your attorney and then let us tell you what, if anything, to say. But when you start saying things, you just laid out your defense. You limited your criminal defense lawyer later on down the road. This guy, Karmelo Anthony, didn't listen to any of that. Obviously, he's 17. He's not thinking. He's just making statements, and all of that is going to hurt him.
Yeah, and you're always closing more doors than you're opening,
Totally.
right? It's crazy. Some organizations and even some lawyers, even some criminal defense lawyers that I've heard tell people to say, oh, yeah, after a self-defense incident, the only statement you make to the cops is, I was in fear for my life. Well, think about this. You're closing so many other defenses to your future lawyer. For example, there are times you can use deadly physical force to protect a third party.
Yep.
There are certain states, Texas is one of them, that have what we might call a general crime prevention statute that allows you to use deadly physical force to stop the commission of a very serious crime. There are a number of reasons why you may be able to exercise deadly physical force that have nothing to do with being in fear for your life. And you and I have been saying for years on this podcast, Mark, in our opinion, the Miranda warnings, the popular Miranda warnings that the police read to people, should really be modified a little bit in order to be more accurate. Currently, they say anything you say or do can and will be used against you. Really, it should be anything you say or do, and the things that you don't say can be used against you, and they will be used against you, because in the hypothetical you just pointed out, if in trial for the first time, for example, evidence is presented where he says, yeah, I thought that this Metcalf guy was going for a weapon or something like that, the prosecutor now gets to stand up and say, isn't it true you talked to the cops that day? You didn't say anything about seeing a knife, did you? You're making it up for the stand right now for this trial, aren't you, after talking to your attorneys? And they can do that because he didn't just shut up.
Yeah, and there are other problems as well. Just while we're on the point, I mean, as I recall reading the police report, the person that those statements were allegedly made to didn't have his body camera on. Well, I hope they're right. He could have put anything in there. He could have, maybe Mr. Anthony winds up saying, yeah, I did make some statements, but that wasn't exactly what I said. I said, I did tell him about I was in fear. Maybe, who knows? He could have said other things. But when you start talking, that officer is going to write down what it is you said. Do you really want to risk 10, 20, maybe more years of your life? And here you're probably talking about more years of your life for 17.
Yeah, I think people don't understand. This boy is going to get his boots smoked, and it's going to be a normal thing. It's not going to be anything retributive. He's going to get the same sentence anybody would get for this, and that's getting sent up the river. You bring a knife to school, you stab a kid in the heart, and you kill him. And you're being charged as an adult, because in Texas, 17 is an adult. An adult brings a knife to school, stabs a kid in the heart, and kills him. There's no self-defense either. Like, they're going to get into that in a minute.
Year-old kid on the accuracy of what that police officer, who may not have his body camera,
how many likes we got?
Camera on, is going to write down in his report. You just put your life in that police officer's hand. So even if you did say exactly the best possible thing, ain't no guarantee that that officer is going to put it down in that police report accurately. Again, just shut up as a general piece of advice. I mean, I've only been doing this 31 years now. I've only been doing these kinds of cases for 31 years. Maybe I'm totally wrong about this, but you and I have seen more cases than we can possibly remember when, together we've been sitting there saying, man, if this guy had just shut up.
Yeah.
Or the worst piece of evidence in the case came out of his own mouth. How many times have we said that? So we keep saying it. I think probably 99% of criminal defense lawyers agree with us. There's one or two around the edges that try to make some more specific advice. And then there are other non-criminal defense lawyers, right? Police officers, use of force experts, different commentators who don't do these kinds of cases, who like to offer different kinds of advice.
Even huge associations like the NRA is telling its members, just tell the cops you were in fear for your life. As you mentioned, he's 17 years old. Parents should learn from this. Parents across the country should learn from this. Sit down with your kids, explain to them what an interaction with the police looks like, and tell them not to talk to the police, especially if they're minors. There's special rules in all jurisdictions in the United States that extra precautions need to be taken when cops are dealing with minors. They should ask to talk to you, and they don't want to make any statements until they speak to a lawyer. So sit down with your kids and have this conversation before they're in this situation.
And by the way, this is what police officers tell their kids as well. They tell their own kids to just shut up. This is what police officers tell other police officers after shootings. Just shut up, at least until you have to deal with that internal affairs interview. And so, look, good police officers recognize and respect an invocation of the right to remain silent. And while we're on the topic, it's always good to say, I want my lawyer present as well, because, you know, if you don't mention the magic word lawyer or attorney, generally speaking, the police officers can continue to ask you questions. But if you mention the magic word in an unequivocal kind of a way, I want my lawyer, not farting around with, you know, do I need a lawyer? I think I might need a lawyer. No, you got to say, I want my lawyer before I answer any questions. Then the rules are they don't get to ask any more questions. And if they do, and even if you do answer, you've now given a good argument to your defense attorney to suppress that statement,
That's
at
right.
least in the case in chief. Best case, again, just shut up.
Yes, and notably with this particular case, he wasn't arrested at that point, so he wasn't in custody. He wasn't being interrogated in custody. That's when the Miranda warnings are triggered. That's when your Fifth Amendment rights kind of turn on at that point. So because he wasn't arrested and undergoing a custodial interrogation, and because he was kind of vomiting out these statements sporadically, all that stuff is going to come into evidence.
It's all coming in. It's all going to hurt him.
Yep. All right. Let's talk about a couple really important general principles of self-defense that people need to understand, right? Because I keep seeing people talk about, well, you know, Metcalf touched Anthony first. Don't you have a right to defend yourself in this country? Doesn't every Texan have a right to defend themselves? We should really differentiate ordinary physical force and deadly physical force and talk about the requirements to use either.
Yeah, and you know, if people are interested here, they should look at the Texas Penal Code, Section 9.31. That's the section that talks about what we refer.
How many niggas you think have looked at the Texas Penal Code? How many TikTok niggas and Facebook niggas you think have looked at the Texas Penal Code? I'm just asking. Give me a what percentage of TikTok and Facebook niggas? Just give me a percentage have actually looked at the Texas Penal Code for self-defense. Just give me a percentage. He said all of them. There you go, 0. None of them. None of them. Not one of them.
Use either.
Yeah, and you know, if people are interested here, they should look at the Texas Penal Code, Section 9.31. That's the section that talks about what we refer to as ordinary self-defense. And then the next section, 9.32, that's the section that talks about deadly force. Think of it as two different boxes here, right? There's the ordinary physical force, and then there's the deadly physical force. This is what we talk about when we use the word proportionality, right? Of course, you have a right to defend yourself. We consider ourselves self-defense absolutists. We take the position that everybody at all times has a right to defend yourself. No problem against anybody who is aggressing against you. But that doesn't mean you get to use disproportionate force. So even if we imagine a situation where Mr. Metcalf is being the aggressor, and it's certainly not clear from the record that we have that Metcalf is aggressing, but if you sort of steelman Mr. Anthony's position here, give him the benefit of all doubts, right? He made these statements. He put his hands on me. Let's imagine Mr. Anthony, let's ascribe the best case scenario to him. It was raining. He wanted to get out of the rain. This was the closest tent. He just went in there, sort of scooted himself in there, sat down quietly in the corner. Forget about the fact that he brought this knife with him. He just had good intentions about everything from the very beginning. He just sat there, was trying to get out of the rain. In Mr. Metcalf, the deceased here, let's ascribe the worst possible situation to him. He gets upset.
Let's make him racist.
He doesn't like black people. He's a white guy who doesn't like black guys. Let's say he went up to him and he called him a whole bunch of racial names and said, swearing at him. And because we all know verbal provocation alone gets you nowhere, right? So you can throw in all of that stuff.
We call this the mere words doctrine.
Yeah, diarrhea of the mouth does not allow the person to which the diarrhea is directed to act in self-defense. Sorry, remember your mom told you sticks and stones might break your bones, but words can never hurt you. That's a pretty good recitation of this point right here. So let's describe to him the worst. He's spewing out racial insults, and then let's just say he lays hands on a very peaceful Mr. Anthony, right? And starts forcibly moving him out of the tent. Now, this would be terrible conduct on behalf of Mr. Metcalf, right? Mr. Metcalf shouldn't get excited. It's impolite to swear at people. He could have got a security guard. He could have got the coach. He could have done anything else but lay hands on Mr. Anthony. But let's say he lays hands on Mr. Anthony. All we got so far is an aggressor who's using ordinary physical force. And what do I mean by ordinary physical force? The kind of force that is not likely to lead to either death or a serious bodily injury or serious physical injury, as it's sometimes explained in the statute. Do we have that? We got a fist fight here between two guys that are probably roughly equal. They're the same age. They're both athletic. You could see the pictures. They look roughly the same size. Now, of course, you start changing that, right? One guy's 300 pounds and the other guy's 150 pounds. That might lead to a different conclusion. But all you got so far is an aggressor who is using ordinary physical force. If you take that stage that I just set, then Mr. Anthony is absolutely entitled to defend himself with ordinary physical force. That means he can stand up and punch Mr. Metcalf in the face. He can push him back. He can get into a physical struggle with him. You don't get to pull out a knife and stab the guy in the heart. That is deadly physical force. You are bringing deadly physical force to repel an imminent threat of ordinary physical force, and that is disproportionate. And even if you have a right to defend yourself here, you lose that, and you are responsible and criminally accountable if, in the way you defend yourself, you use deadly physical force in response to an ordinary physical force threat.
Yes, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And this isn't just our opinion, folks. If you look at every jurisdiction in the United States, there's a reason why they differentiate between ordinary physical force and deadly physical force.
Yo, your boy is cooked. Shout out to Deluxe 247, aka Cal Ripken, aka the real MVP. Your man's, and make sure y'all support the channel, man. Let's see if we can get some more people to support this type of content, man. This is the real deal, man. This the real deal, man. This ain't hemming and hawing about rumors on social media, man. We've done that, man. We had fun doing that, man. And listen, those people, even though they irritate the hell out of you, it's content. You know what I'm saying? But this is where the buck stops, man. Listen, man. Only thing that's gonna happen is that boy gonna have a hell of a lot of commissary when he's in the joint. His commissary, if his parents spend this money wisely, if they save this money, he's going to have a hell of a lot of commissary when he's in the joint. That boy is cooked. That boy is cooked. I can put the link to this video in in the description box. I put the link to this video in the description box. This boy is cooked, okay? And it's not going to be, it's not, and to the legal, to the people in the court, it's not going to be controversial. Now, I know he got a black woman judge, so she probably going to sentence him. Now, the judge sentencing, she's probably going to give him the low end of the sentence. So whatever the sentence is, she's going to probably give him the least amount of time possible in the sentence. But as far as being found guilty, this is a slam dunk. This is a slam dunk. He is cooked. Okay? This is a slam dunk. This is a slam dunk. This is probably the easiest case that those people, whoever, the prosecutor on this case, this is probably one of their easiest cases that they've ever had. Especially when you talk about self-defense. Like somebody claiming self-defense. The nigga literally said, I did it. He said, why? The nigga literally said, I did it because he put his hands on me. Not because him and his brother was about to jump me or because he said, I'm going to kill you. I did this shit because he put his hands on me. I did it. Why? Because he put his hands on me. He's cooked. No saying later down the line, oh nah, see what happened was both the brothers were trying to kick my ass. Nah, motherfucker. Nope. You said you did it because he put his hands on you. And we have witnesses saying that you dared him to put his hand on you.
Now, as I mentioned earlier, there are times where you can legally use deadly physical force in a self-defense context, but even outside of a self-defense context, but it's never in response to mere ordinary physical force.
That's going to be the problem in this case at the end of the day. And that's putting Mr. Anthony in the best possible light. And that's not the light that we're seeing this case in right now, because there are other witnesses who say that Mr. Anthony said, quote, touch me and see what happens. And also, quote, punch me and see what happens. Now, this can be taken as either consent or mutual combat, right? It's an invitation to get into a fist fight or provocation. You're inviting this situation that is looked on in a very disfavored way. You know that that's coming out at trial.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And there's so many subsections hidden away in these statutes all over the United States. And one of them is that if you are the initial aggressor in an incident, you don't get to claim self-defense. In other words, if you brought on the incident, you don't get to claim self-defense. Now, what brought on the incident in this case? It's tough to say. Will a prosecutor try to argue that maybe even entering into the other team's tent in the first place was starting the incident? They might try to argue
maybe
that.
He's a trespasser. He's in the wrong.
Maybe
something like that.
I think it's a weak argument, but maybe it's an argument. But to respond to, hey, man, you got to leave our tent, which is a valid request, with touch me and see what happens or punch me and see what happens. That sounds like fighting words to me. It sounds like legally relevant provocation, which could lead a prosecutor to argue to the judge, they shouldn't even get a self-defense instruction because the subsection of that statute says that they don't get one if they started the confrontation.
Yeah, you don't automatically get to argue self-defense. I mean, you have the burden of production. If you are going to bring a self-defense claim, you got to offer some evidence. You don't automatically get a self-defense jury instruction.
Could you imagine if they take away his self-defense? Could you imagine if they get to court and the judge and say, this isn't a self-defense trial. This doesn't meet the standard. Oh my God. Niggas might burn something down, man. Foot Locker, goddamn, AutoZone, some shit getting burnt down, man. Fuck, man. They say that shit. If they say, wait a second, hold on, nigga. What you thought you just get to come in here and say? Nah, it has to be, the facts got to say self-defense. This is not a self-defense case. It's just a murder case. Yo. Oh my God! Just for I don't want to see that for what it's going to do to the country, but I just want to laugh, man. I just want to see the look on Dominique Alexander's face when the judge say that. I want to see the look on Dominique's face, man. Just no. This is just a murder case. This is not a self-defense case. This doesn't meet the burden for self-defense. This is just a homicide case. But it does make sense because if it was like that, anybody could just say self-defense. Like you could just say self-defense anytime you kill somebody. Like every person who ever killed somebody could say self-defense. Think about it. Every homicide involving like street people or savvy people from the streets, every homicide would be a self-defense if that was the case. Because everybody would say, oh yeah, self-defense. Yeah, I was defending myself. Yeah. But every homicide is not self-defense. Very rarely do we see homicides good self-defense. And that's why. Because there's a burden. The facts have to, you can't, it ain't just your word that say it was a self-defense. You don't just get to breaking somebody's house and they wake up and shit and you shoot them and be like, oh yeah, I was defending myself because I didn't know nobody was gonna be home. So you know what I'm saying? Self-defense. And then we gotta try you as nah, man, it ain't like that. This is gonna be hilarious, man. Oh my God, this is gonna be hilarious.
Punch me and see what happens. That sounds like fighting words to me. It sounds like legally relevant provocation, which could lead a prosecutor to argue to the judge, they shouldn't even get a self-defense instruction because the subsection of that statute says that they don't get one if they started the confrontation.
Yeah, you don't automatically get to argue self-defense. I mean, you have the burden of production. If you are going to bring a self-defense claim, you got to offer some evidence. You don't automatically get a self-defense jury instruction. And you may have enough here. And these are generally liberally handed out by judges because judges are savvy enough to know that if they don't give a self-defense instruction in a case and they get convicted and the case is appealed to a court of appeals and that court of appeals says, there was enough here. And I think there's enough here already just because Mr. Anthony made the initial statement to the police officer, I was protecting myself. He put his hands on me. I think you're there just with that statement coming in. That's enough. And so I think he's going to get his self-defense jury instruction.
A good judge would err on the side of giving the instruction
question.
and turning it over to the jury.
But then when you put it along with, punch me and see what happens, touch me and see what happens, and you happen to know you brought a knife along to the track meet, the high school track meet, where there's certainly, forget about the fact that the knives aren't even allowed on the school property. Forget the fact that under Texas law, it might be illegal because knives, I understand, that are over 5.5 inches, that the blade is longer than that, might be illegal in Texas. There might be something you need to do to get that kind of a knife. I haven't looked into it that far, but forget about all that. Imagine you legally brought a knife. You got a knife sitting in your bag, and now you are provoking somebody to punch me and see what happens. It almost looks like you want to stab the guy. You want to get into this kind of a fight. Certainly doesn't endear him to a jury. It's not going to make a jury say, we really feel bad for this guy who brought the knife to school property and is now sort of taunting or provoking this other fellow after he then went in the tent to kind of start a discussion. It's the other team's tent. You're on a rival team. Somebody is probably going to say, hey, even if it's not, we need more space in our tent because there's people on our team who want to get out of the rain as well. But just because, maybe we're talking strategy, or maybe we're having some discussion amongst how we're going to handle the next meet or something like that. We don't want the competition sitting in our tent. I mean, somebody is probably going to ask you to leave. I don't know how all this is going to play out, but none of it puts Mr. Anthony in a very sympathetic light for a jury.
Absolutely. So the long established principles of proportionality are going to cause some serious problems for the defense here. But it gets worse, Mark. We have something called consciousness of guilt evidence that the prosecutor gets to play around with as well. Consciousness of guilt evidence is when somebody's behavior following an event reflects the fact that they might be guilty, that they had a guilty mindset at the time. And so what happens after the event? Mr. Anthony leaves there. He discards the knife in the bleachers, discards his bag from which he pulled out the knife in the bleachers, and takes off. Now, why is this relevant? Well, we defend people all the time in self-defense cases, and I can tell you that people who believe that they acted in valid self-defense are they're pretty proud of that fact. They're like, I had to do that. It wasn't pleasant. I didn't enjoy doing it, but I'm damn proud that I did. I'm really happy that I did. And, I did it because I needed to protect myself or a third party or for any other legal reason. They don't usually try to hide the weapon. Flee
the scene.
And then flee the scene. And guess what?
Yeah, man. I told you guys that was going to be a problem. You defended yourself. Then you ran away and ditched the knife. Conscious, what they call it, conscious behavior, whatever. That's on the books, man. Like, yo, you got to stay on the scene. Place the weapon down and hand yourself over to the cops and tell them what happened. If it's self-defense, you don't run away and ditch the weapon. He is cooked, man. He's cooked. Oh, yeah, we're going to get to the Aryan Brotherhood in a minute, man. Make sure y'all support the channel. Support the channel, man. How many likes we got, man? Make sure y'all support the channel, man. Listen. We're going to get to the Aryan Brotherhood in a minute.
What the prosecutor gets to talk about all of that. Okay, if you thought you acted properly in self-defense, why'd you discard everything? Why'd you go running away?
Yeah, and prosecutor's probably going to get a jury instruction to the jury that's going to say something along the lines of, if you find that the defendant attempted to flee the scene and hide the knife, you can consider that as consciousness of guilt. And I think that's pretty clear. I think that that is exactly what the jury is going to conclude from that kind of activity.
Yeah, Mr. Anthony may say, well, I left the scene because I thought these guys were still dangerous and were still threatening me and everything like that. But then, of course, that begs the question, why discard the knife right there next to them in the bleachers? Where he discarded the knife was just right there in the bleachers. He just armed them, if that's his theory that these guys are dangerous. So I think this is going to cause problems.
It all bodes really bad for Mr. Anthony.
All right, so all that said, Mark, and I think both of us are saying with the evidence that's presented right now, looks like a very tough case for the defense. So let's have some fun. Let's pretend that this guy was an AOR client. First and foremost, if this guy was an AOR client, no question, we would defend him in this case.
Yeah, that's an easy one. I mean, we'd actually be really excited about defending
Pumped
him in this
about it,
case.
yeah.
Assuming I would have wanted him, first thing I would talk to him is, why did you just shut up? Why didn't you call us right away? We would have told you to just shut up. We would have put the officer on the line. We would have talked to him. We would have, look, if there were important things to put out there in terms of self-defense, we would have said, look, our client felt threatened. He felt like he was at risk of serious physical injury here. We're going to give you all the facts later on. We just want to let you know that's the situation right now. We would deal with that situation. But how would we defend this case? We certainly wouldn't roll over and say, well, look at all the things Mark and Andy just said. This looks really bad. We better look to quickly cut a deal or something like that. No, we'd be gearing up in a big way. Well, first thing would be to talk to the client. Say, what the heck was going on? Explain to us why you did this. And, look, I don't know what he would say, but I expect that he would probably say something. I hope he would say something along the lines of, I was really afraid that I was going to be injured here. I can think of many things he would say, right? We know the twin brother was right there. Maybe it was 2 against 1. Maybe it was more than 2 against 1. Maybe he's in the tent of the other team. And when Mr. Metcalf stands up and gets into this, thing with him, the whole team gets up and now pumps up their chest and say, yeah, you got to get out of our tent. Now it's a whole group of people and he's worried. So now we've changed the analysis, right? We have several people against one person. He's also standing on the bleachers. Now, he's not super high up probably, but bleachers can be dangerous places. It's easy to fall over on the bleachers. It's easy to fall down and hit your head or roll down. So there could be a way to defend this case where Mr. Anthony is at a reasonable concern of an imminent serious physical injury.
Yeah, let's talk about that because people are confused about this point. The law allows you to use deadly physical force in self-defense or defense of others if you are reasonably concerned about imminent death or serious physical injury. That's right. You can use deadly physical force if a reasonable person in your position would have believed that there was an imminent risk of serious physical injury. There's an old adage, right? There's an old adage that's floating around right now surrounding this case. You don't bring a gun to a fist fight. We'll modify it a little bit for this case for Mr. Anthony. You don't bring a knife to a fist fight. And all he did was bring a knife to a fist fight. Well, that's an old adage. And
usually, right?
It's helpful because it conveys an important principle, what we're talking about, of proportionality. But as it turns out, there are many instances where you can validly bring a knife to a fist fight. You just explored a couple of them there. And remember, when we're talking proportionality here, we mean the type of, you're allowed to use whatever force is what you're facing imminently. And so if there's a gang of people surrounding you, that could easily end up in serious physical injury or even death. If you're pushed over the bleachers, if you're worried they're going for a weapon, even if you're mistaken, because we have a statute in every jurisdiction that says a reasonable mistake of fact can be substituted in for a mental state in a defense statute. So in non-lawyer terms, that basically means even if you were wrong about the fact that you were facing deadly physical force, say, for example, he believed reasonably that the guy was going for a knife, but it turned out he was going for a cell phone or something like that. If a reasonable person would have believed that he was going for a knife, you can use deadly physical force.
Yeah, imagine you do some interviews in this case, and there are other people from Mr. Metcalf's team in the tent, and you say to them, do you remember this incident? Do you remember the day? Yes, yes, yes. When this thing started, it attracted your attention, didn't it? Yes, it did. And you were sitting down when that happened. Yes, you did. And then as the thing got more escalated, you got concerned and you stood up to see what was happening. Yeah, I did. Okay, that would be huge, right?
Absolutely.
That would be huge. Maybe were you standing up to try to gang up and fight Mr. Anthony? Absolutely not. That's fine because when Mr. Anthony testifies, he says, and of course, it's going to be a lot harder since he opened his big mouth at the beginning and didn't say anything like this. But, you know, when this started, I saw a whole bunch of people on the team. They started standing up and also coming towards me. And I thought the entire gang was getting ready to attack me. And if you can now put that together with a couple interviews of people in the tent who said, yeah, it wasn't in a threatening way. I didn't think so, but I was standing up just to see what was happening. Now you got maybe a reasonable mistake of fact. You got something to work with, something you can chew on and say, look, he was wrong about this, but a reasonable person in his position would have believed that we had a numbers problem. It was one against several people who are also athletes and capable of doing harm. And you couple that with the standing in the bleachers. And now all of a sudden it looks more like a reasonable concern about a serious.
I don't necessarily think he was necessarily filled with black rage. I think he was asked to leave. When you ask a son man to leave somewhere, man, we've done so many stories where it's just been that, man. Where it's had nothing to do other than that the person was asked to leave. Now, could Karmelo Anthony be the average Kamala voter, black person that hates white people? Yeah, definitely. But I think that white boy would have been better off calling him a nigger than asking him to leave. I think Austin Metcalf would have been better off calling Karmelo Anthony a nigger than asking him to leave. Press 1.
And we begin with new
something you can chew on and say, look, he was
a stabbing in Frisco, Texas.
Oh, you know, that's will be like. Let's get started. Usually when I do a lot of these types of videos, usually when we're talking about someone in this situation, they've 9 times out of 10 done something to a child. And so we usually have to address what crime they've committed and how inmates feel about that. And I want to say that doesn't apply here because as long as it doesn't involve a young child and you doing something real weird and real strange to that child, it doesn't. But in this case, it does exactly. I'm not even going to say what he did, but who he did it to. The race issue. I mean, we can't ignore it. We all know it's there. And here's why it's important. Because in Texas, there is a strong presence of the Aryan Brotherhood. Actually, it is the ABT. It is the Aryan Brotherhood of Texas. If you ask some Aryan Brotherhood members out in California, where this kind of all originated and where they're the strongest and most dominant, they don't even associate with the ABs in Texas. They don't even consider them part of, they're their own thing. But nevertheless, I mean, you can, whether they accept them or don't, they are a force in Texas. The Aryan Brotherhood of Texas. They are present and they are there and they are dangerous, as are pretty much all the other gangs that are prevalent in Texas prisons. So, of course, this whole case, whether it should be or shouldn't be, the fact is, it is at this point racially charged extremely. No doubt the Aryans have heard about it. They already know. They're following it already. You would be surprised if you don't know how many people they have contraband cell phones. They're watching the news. They are keeping up with all of this inside prison. Trust me. It's like me when I was in prison and Alec Murdoch, who was in my state, South Carolina. I'm in South Carolina State Prison. Alec Murdoch is being charged and going through trial in South Carolina for his crimes. And I'm hearing all the buzz and rumors and whispers this, that, and the third amongst inmates about Alec Murdaugh once he inevitably comes into the prison that we're at, and what's going to happen, what's not going to happen, how he's going to be treated, et cetera, et cetera. Inmates are very interested. They know he's coming. You're coming our way. You're coming our way. This is in our state. This is big time news. It's right here where home is at. We're here. You're coming to see us. That is how the Texas inmates feel about Karmelo Anthony. Because I just don't see him not going to prison. Now, when he gets there, I'll just say this. Yes, the Aryans are very deep and powerful inside Texas prisons. No doubt there's going to be a strong desire on their part. And I've even heard my buddy, fellow creator, big time YouTuber and TikToker, JD DeLay, touch on this a little bit this morning. Even he said, you know, the Aryans, they're going to want to, they're going to have the desire to touch him, to harm him, to put hands on him, to make an example out of him. Like, what better person for their cause and what they stand for, right? Here's the thing about that, and I'm sure JD would agree. Above all, there is a thing that exists called prison politics, and this is how you keep chaos from ensuing day after day after day after day. And when chaos ensues, lockdown ensues. Nobody wants lockdown. Now I can't come out and make my moves. I can't handle my, you know, I'm part of a gang. It's bigger than me. But me personally, I have my own things going on. I want to get on the phone and call my wife. I want to get on the phone and call my girl, call my mom, call my kids. I want to get on the phone and I want to orchestrate something to where I can get contraband or drugs smuggled into the prison, and then I can get them and then make money, and that money is mine and it will benefit me. I care more about things that benefit me than what's going on for the masses over here. So everyone in prison, I mean, it's a survival game. Everyone cares about their own survival and their thrival. It's not a word, but I just made it up because it should be a word. There's surviving, then there's thriving. People want to survive in prison, but people also, once they're comfortable and I'm surviving all right, now I want to thrive. I want to have excess money. I want to have excess food. I want to have more than I need. I want to have everything I can get. I want to have a TV. I want to have a cell phone. I want to have drugs. I want to have prison wine. I want to have burgers. I want to have chicken. You know, and people, that's what they spend their time striving to obtain in prison. And when something happens to the magnitude of if something racially was done in a violent manner to Karmelo Anthony, that would absolutely, especially with all the publicity he gets, absolutely result in some widespread lockdowns. Nobody's coming out of their cell. Nobody's doing anything. Nobody's sneezing in the wrong direction. Or you getting sent to solitary and tased. I just spit a little bit, but that's how much passion. I'm telling you the truth. Okay. But seriously, and at the end of the day, you can do all the politics you want in prison. You can do this, you can do that. Everyone can come to an agreement. It only takes one rogue person who has woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Their biscuit was missing from their breakfast tray. Then,
okay, so this guy says that the Aryan Brotherhood. Listen, the prison politics in Texas. I think the brothers are strong enough to protect Karmelo. I think whatever gang the brothers get down, whatever gang Karmelo gets down, he about to tell you what gang Karmelo's in, because Karmelo is reps a gang, which and all that'll come on trial. Shout out to my man TCT, man. Thank you for your service, man. He says, I don't know if it's been asked, but did Karmelo's family move next as they fear for their safety? Yeah, I don't believe that they fear for their safety. I don't believe for 1 second they fear for their safety. I think they move because they're using this as they're spending this money. They probably already wanted to move just to get away from the area just because of their own guilt. I don't believe white people are outside of their house Like they were outside of the Supreme Justice. Remember when those Supreme Justices, Kavanaugh and the other Alito and all those protesters were outside their house? I think we would have seen footage of that. I think we would have seen footage. I think somebody would have uploaded if there was a deep note sent to the Carmelo Anthony family. I think we would have seen it. I think any shred of racism, real racism that they didn't manufacture, they would have shown us gleefully. It would have been all over the social media. If they found a shoestring, if they found a rope, if there was a rope, and it didn't even have to be tied in a knot, if there was just a rope with anywhere in that neighborhood where they live, if someone found a rope on the ground anywhere in the neighborhood where Carmelo Anthony lives, they would have called it a noose, and they would have shown everybody. I don't think anybody's threatening the Anthonys. I don't think anybody, no one. I don't think they're getting any death threats. I think they moved because they probably wanted to move. Probably wanted a better house. Now somebody dropped $400,000 in my lap. Listen, man. I'm just asking you guys to take the $7 challenge, man. Take the $7, support the channel. These motherfuckers got $400,000 dropped in their lap, and they raised. Oh yeah, the Anthonys raised the They raised their campaign goal. They raised it to $550. So they raised it to $550. So yeah, they're trying to keep going and keep going. That's a lot of money, man, to give to some people, man. And the father makes $72,000 a year. The wife doesn't work. She's a stay-at-home mom. Now you got this big pot of money.
Then they went to go to the bathroom, and Johnny McGee stepped on their brand new pair of prison shoes. And then, Larry Left Eye, coughed on the back of their neck in line for the phone. And they're just having the worst day. And you know what? It's all been building up. And you know what? I'm going to beat the crap out of Carmelo Anthony, and it's going to start a whole thing. And it happens. That happens. You do have people, hey, we all understand, we're all on one accord, we've done the prison politics, everything should be fine, and there's peace, we've got it all figured out. It only takes one person, for whatever reason, who just goes off the script and starts a whole thing. It does happen. And that's why it is hard to predict what exactly is going to happen to this guy or this guy or this guy or Carmelo Anthony. You're asking to judge a bunch of people who are in a living hell, which they've gotten themselves in. But, as it should be, it's a living hell on earth. No one there's happy. No one there's happy to be there. No one there is having things go that great in their life. Everyone's mad. Nobody wants to be around anybody. It's a bunch of grown men stuck in their ways who are just, stuff happens no matter what. So you never really know. But although the point is, although the Aryans will probably want to harm him, that can be 98% smoothed out and avoided via prison politics. If Carmelo Anthony goes in there, gets recruited by the right gang, a respectable gang, or just falls in with the right people. Sometimes you don't even have to be a gang member. You can just be someone of value or importance or significance for many, many, many different reasons to a gang member or to an influential, powerful inmate who has a lot of say-so. That's all you got to be. And that ain't hard, and there's many ways to be that to somebody. But here's the thing. And, you assume, and I will say, normally I would say, and people won't like this because it seems as if I'm justifying his violent actions, which I'm not, but the purpose of this video is bringing you into the mind of an inmate. These inmates, they don't care what happened to Austin Metcalf. Okay. A new inmate has entered my cell block. I know that he is willing to grab a knife and stab someone and take their life. He might. That boy might just be good material for my gang. I'd like him on my side. I'd like him to take a knife and kill one of my enemies. That's all they care about. You think they care about Austin Metcalf? I'm sorry, brother. I just can't accept you into the Aryan. Brother, I can't accept you into the Bloods. I can't accept you into the Vice Lords. I can't accept you into the Texas Terror Syndicate. I just can't believe you do that to innocent high school sports athlete Austin Metcalf. They don't give a crap. They don't give a crap about anything. Their life is over. They're living in hell. They care about how you benefit them. If you benefit me, we'll figure out how to make sure that happens. Otherwise, get out of my face. I might hurt you. Period. So normally I'd say a gang is going to look at him. This is a young black man, easily influenced because he's young. He's in a new place. It's a scary place. It's a dangerous place. It's a place where the laws of the land have been established long, long, long before this man was even born. And you're not going to change that, and you're not going to be above that. You're not going to overrule that. You're going to get in line with the laws of the land. And so someone comes to you and then they take you in, you'll be easily influenced and molded and shaped into what they want you to be. And usually someone would jump all on that. That's what I would say. They see some guy, because in there's no guns. You have to be up close physical, and you have to have the stomach to actually take a knife and plunge it into someone. And that sounds crude because the reality of what he did, his actions and the crime are awful, awful. But if I'm telling you how an inmate's going to look at it, they're going to be like, yep, bingo, there's our next guy. That's what we need. But here's the issue with that. Brings me to my next point. You're not just going to be scooped up by any old gang because you already went and ruined that by claiming, likely false claiming, a gang by throwing up a gang sign, as you see in this photo. He's throwing up gang signs holding a chopper, an assault rifle with a banana clip. What's up with that? Now you claiming a gang? You know what gang this is? This isn't the Vice Lords. This is a branch off of the Vice Lords called the IVL, the Insane Vice Lords. Here's a reference photo of other people throwing up the gang sign. He's claiming to be an insane Vice Lord, probably false claiming. Why? Because number one, you live in Frisco, Texas, brother. You know, I know there's a lot of gang activity throughout Texas, especially North Texas, but let's talk about Frisco. Not exactly, you know, riddled with and invested with gang war violence. You know, I mean, this is a pretty prominent part of town. Okay. Highly doubt he's actually a real solidified gang member. And then on top of that, we know he's not a gang member. I would say what really gives me confidence he's not a gang member, 9 out of 10 gangs require you to be beat in physically with fists by multiple people for a certain amount of time to become a member. We know Karmelo Anthony is the last person who would engage in physical combat. He is scared of fighting. He is scared of good old-fashioned fisticuffs, hand-to-hand combat. He can't take a beating. Just take one on the chin. You live to fight another day. He'd rather cheap shot someone with a weapon he's not supposed to have and then run away and then throw the weapon and then cry. He's a cheap shot guy with a cheap weapon. He will not stand toe-to-toe like a man and fight. If you are being bullied, if someone is pressuring you and being aggressive and threatening, fight. He won't do that. He will sneak you the first chance he gets and literally backstab you. Except he sneakily plunged it into the heart, pulled it out, ran away, threw the knife, and then cried to the officers, "Oh my gosh, what happened? Oh my gosh." He's a coward. And the whole point, and it sounds barbarian, caveman-like, and stupid, and it is. The concept of getting physically beaten into a gang. Now I'm supposed to be with you guys, and you guys are on my team. The only way to get in is for y'all to beat the living crap out of me. Yes. Do you know why? Not saying it's the smartest way of vetting someone, but they do that to ensure that you won't run from a physical fight, that you will hold your own, that you are a man, you will fight your own battles, you won't hide behind a gang, you won't go to someone and slap them in the face and be like, you can't touch me, I'm in a gang, my buddies will beat you up. No, we need to make sure you will stand and fight your own battles. And if you find yourself in a cell block, in a prison where you're the only gang member, and there are 71 rival gang members, and they all surround you and say, we're going to beat the crap out of you, you are going to stand there and take that beating. That's why we are going to surround you and make you take a beating before you're one of us, because you need to represent and show respect to the good name of this gang that you're wanting to get into. And we have to make sure you're not just getting in here the easy way for protection. So no one's going to touch you because I'm in a gang. No, you got, as you see in this photo.
Yeah, right there. They caught that. He's throwing up gang signs. He's throwing up gang signs. He's carrying a knife. He was going to be in trouble anyway soon. Soon, that type of behavior is going to get him in trouble. Shout out to S13, man. Damn, is that like MS-13? You trying to tell us something, sister? She says, how can we do $7? Here's my challenge donation. Great show. I usually catch replays. Yeah, just they have like a little lever on the under the thing. Just move it to the right, and it'll increase the amount you can donate on the super chat. You just move the thing to the right. You go from 5 on up to 500. Salute to you, S13. S13, not MS-13, S13. Jeez. Shout out to Big Pete, man. Big Pete says, Axe Pantheon about Prime Minister of UK smooching some dude on Ring doorbell. And if it's real or not. Hilarious if true, since dude is married. UK is cooked. They wish they had Donald J. Trump. Donald J. Trump parents were born in England too. That's crazy. He was probably meant to be a great English man, but fate brought him to America, man. Fate brought his parents to America. Because you only have one great white man, man. White people's in trouble, man. All these damn white people, and only one of them is like great, like the old days, man. Thomas Jefferson and all those motherfuckers. They ain't got none of them motherfuckers now. They got Chuck Schumer now, man. Joe Biden and shit. I have the white people falling, man. White people have fallen. Link is in the description box, man. You're able to come up, man. Shout out to Mr. Terrible. He says, what do you think of the Shannon Sharp accusations? Which one, man? I think the Tony Busby shit is bullshit. Anytime Tony Busby is involved, I think it's bullshit. But I do think it's gonna fucking be a thorn in his side, because it's just a pain in the ass, man, when the broad is accusing you of rape. You're a high profile person. And then Shannon allegedly went off on the chick. Didn't he go off on the chick? That's not acceptable when you work at a ESPN. You can't just cuss the bitch out online that's accusing you of rape. Because now you gotta, because I think he cussed her out online. Like, nah, man, you can't do that. That's not it's Believe All Women at ESPN and Disney. You gotta keep your mouth shut. It's Believe All Women at ESPN and Disney. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, Ak?
Ain't nothing. Let's see this guy saying.
Most of Shannon Sharp got going for himself. I would hope that he would not stoop to this level, because you got Club Shay Shay, your interview series, you got Nightcap, you got all these different things. And the sad part about this is people are going to blindly believe that this woman actually got raped, and not even, wait till there's more evidence comes out, substantial evidence comes out before they make a rash decision and want to be on the wrong side of history. Much as Shannon Sharp got going for himself.
It says, yeah, I mean, this is Tony Busby, man. Tony Busby is a scumbag, man. He's like, what's that, Gloria Allred? They're scumbags. I don't put no. It's just gonna be a pain in the ass, though. It's gonna be a pain in the ass, man. It's gonna be a pain in the ass. And this woman is saying this shit happened recently. This isn't old shit.
It depends on how much evidence she has. I mean, I don't know.
Text messages and shit like that.
Yeah, leave it to the sun, man.
Wow. This is just old shit, man. I mean, this is just new shit, and and she's gonna, she's gonna try it until like he proves that it and just like any other Tony Busby case, you gotta spend a bunch of money to discredit the chick, and then he'll go away. He'll go away. Tony Busby will just go away as if nothing ever happened, as if he didn't just bring some lying bitch up into the public square saying that she got raped by a celebrity. He just gonna move on like nothing ever happened. That's a scumbag, man. That dude is a scumbag. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Let me show you while I'm over here on this channel. Yeah, let me show you this one. This one was fun. This is in New York. This is New York. This is the type of stuff. Listen, you white people, man. Shout out to you white people, man. Because y'all are the reason we don't have a race war. White people are the reason we don't have a race war. It's not black people. Stop taking credit for it, black people. White people are the reason we don't have a race war.
She yelled it. She acting stupid out here right now. Oh, check her out. She start hitting the. Oh! Oh, why you spit on? Oh! Yo, she out here going yard it. Nah, she just spit on somebody.
Why she do
Spit
that?
on the lady's face.
Champion's in the back.
She got a sludge. She yelled it. She acting stupid out here right now.
Yeah.
Oh, check her out. She start hitting the. Oh!
She wildin'.
Oh, why you spit on her?
She said, why she spit on her? Because she felt like it. She don't see that white person is or that light skin. Maybe that woman's Latina, but in her mind, that's a white person. That person's not human. Like that person is not human to her.
At least she didn't spit on the baby.
Well, the baby got that hood thing over it. You know what I'm saying? And for the shade, I'm sure I wouldn't have put it past. Listen, I wouldn't put it past her to fuck no, I wouldn't put it past her to spit on the baby. Not at all.
Did you hear about that one case in Georgia where those two son kids robbed the couple and they shot the baby? They killed the baby.
Yeah, exactly. In the face. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, I wouldn't be surprised.
Just
Yachty,
evil.
She acting stupid out here right now. Oh, check her out. She start hitting up. Oh, why you spit on?
And that girl know that this woman will come back and maul her in front of her baby in broad daylight in front of everybody. And like the fight, you gotta hope. And here's the thing, this woman has real hair too. So it's like when black women fight other women who have real hair, it's not the advantage because you fight the black woman hair, they got a little either a wig or weave or some shit in, and that shit comes out. But when you got real hair down to the root, they grab that shit and they just beat the shit out of you to keep your head down and just pound your fucking back of your head, you give you a fucking concussion and shit. So it's like this woman probably like she did the right thing. She swallowed her pride. Because getting spit on, somebody spitting in your face, because it hit her in the face, you can tell by the way she wiped it off, it hit her in the face. That's hard to do, but I think white people are keeping us from having a race war, man. Shout out to Jeff Metcalf, man. Shout out to Jeff Metcalf, man, and all the white people like her. Because if this was reversed, if a white woman, let's just say this was reversed, right? Not even this bad. If a white woman had called the manager, said, I'd like to speak to the manager. This woman did XYZ. Black Twitter would be fucking irate, would be erupting right now over it. You know what I'm saying? They would be erupting. Let alone a white woman just spits in a black woman's face while she's pushing her stroller. They would find out where that white woman lived. You notice no white people are doxing this woman. I bet you there's nobody trying to find out where this woman lives, where she works, her LinkedIn, her social media, her IG account, her Facebook account. Nobody's trying to find that shit. If she was white, they would already have it.
Have her roasted on a spit.
So this says this is Harbor East this weekend. So they took over in Harbor East. So we already covered them, the black teams fucking up Philly. Let's see Harbor East. That's Baltimore. Let's see that, man.
What about Chicago?
I'm sure they fucked up Chicago too. I didn't hear nothing about it. Though. Let me just go to Baltimore. Wow. Shout out to everybody out there, man, in YouTube Landia, man. Gouch Merlot in the building. Shout out to Gouch Merlot, says action-filled show tonight. Yeah, man. It's just real, man. Listen, somebody got to show the real. And it's a lot of shows I was watching today, and they were talking about all the theories and all the other stuff. And I was like, yeah, we talked about that for a while, but I said, man, you know what? It's time to just let me stop playing with people, man. This boy is cooked. That boy is cooked.
Hey, salute to you. Salute to you for bringing the truth out here.
Yeah, that boy is cooked. Yeah, he's done, man. He's done.
Good morning. Good morning.
What's happening?
I said, Ag, you're onto something because I love SVU.
SVU?
Absolutely. Captain
Yeah,
Benson
yeah.
and Co.
Black
I
women, black
SVU.
women
The men love it too,
love.
though.
You think? I think women love it. I think from what I've seen, I haven't seen a lot of men with the whole series set of Law and Order and shit. I've gone over a lot of women's house. I mean, don't get me wrong, man. I mean, at one time I was a very, very handsome man, but it was, and I've been, and they always, and this is back in the day, before, they would always have the Law and Order season series and shit. It was like all the DVDs with all the fucking every fucking episode and shit. I'd be like,
Because
God,
they're interconnected. but I did start with CSI. Like I did start with CSI. And then CSI Miami, and then I went to Law and Order. And I started season 20 this weekend. So you are definitely onto something.
Yeah. It's something about
I
that.
think it's just women and true crime. Like I love true crime. I watch it to relax.
And then why are women so lack such self-awareness if they love watching crime so much? When I say self-awareness, I'm talking about like situational awareness.
Yeah, when you're outside and you're looking at your phone, which I don't. So I leave my music low. I always have my eyes on a swivel. I used to stand. I used to go upstairs on our double-decker buses, but now I always stay by the exit. I always stay in the pushchair wheelchair area by the exit doors.
Wow. Hey, Miss Berry, how about you? Are you a Law and Order freak? Are you a Law and Order thought? I guess she's muted. Yeah, so yeah, let me see. What was you talking about? Baltimore? Baltimore local news. Yeah, man. But yeah, like that stuff right there, that Law and Order, it wraps it up so quickly. It is so dramatic. Real court, I've been there. I've been on trial. I've copped. I've done all types of things, man. I've been to other people's trials. I've been to sentencing. I've been sentenced. It is so boring. It's such a letdown. You know what I mean? You got to literally give them all the evidence that you got, and they got to give you all the evidence that they got before the trial even starts. You know everything they're going to put
I was watching, which I want to tell you about, but I figured through all the chats was First 48. But that's a stand.
Yeah,
that is such an
no
interesting show.
No doubt. First 48 is
Man, First 48. That's like First 48 is like listening to Odd Nation. It kinda,
yeah. And you're
it's,
just watching it, and them talking to the police, them not. Yeah, it's fascinating. And even the perpetrators when they lie, and it's very obvious they did it, but they're still trying to lie.
I remember I used to watch First 48. Like, couldn't wait to find for them to actually find the killer, and the killer confesses, and then you hear the confession and you realize that they just killed him over $2. You're like, oh shit, these people died for less than nothing.
Yeah, it's
Better off.
amazing.
I'd rather not know why they died.
And then there's two stories going simultaneously, so they keep. If you got a short attention span, with First 48, they keep you locked in, because if you got ADD or something like that, they switch back to the other story, and they switch back to this story. They switch back, so it's like keep you engaged, man.
4 months later,
that's real sitcom status.
It's like 4 months later, the DNA files have come back. The DNA testing.
It was a busy night for Baltimore police Saturday in Fells Point as residents are once again sounding the alarm to the problems in the neighborhood.
A lot of the juveniles have come in with that, mentality, and they don't know how to conduct themselves.
Fox 45's Vincent Hill. He joins us live now from Fells Point with the latest incident and why residents say the system is broken. Vincent.
Well, Maxine, a pretty calm and quiet night here in Fells Point tonight. You can see folks just at the bars walking around, but last night, this block was a crime scene.
Think about it. Look when there's no niggas around. That's all he should have said. Tonight, there's no niggas around. Tonight, it's only white people in Fells Point. And last night, there were black people around. That's literally what he could have just said.
They would have said that in the 70s.
Well, Maxine, a pretty calm and quiet night here in Fells Point tonight. You can see folks just at the bars walking around, but last night, this block was a crime scene.
The more things change.
This wasn't the way Baltimore was.
The more they stay the same when it comes to crime in Fells Point.
Well, it's very disheartening.
Saturday night, just after midnight, in the 900 block of Fell Street.
So the number 2 male told security he was robbed at gunpoint, said he was hitting the head with a gun.
An armed robbery. The victim pistol whipped. The suspect still on the run. Just minutes before, on the other side of Fells Point.
Caught a large juveniles on the parking lot. Call stated that their statements was physical, but showed up in a fight and said that they are standing on vehicles refusing to leave the location.
Reports of a large fight involving juveniles as onlookers stood on top of cars.
They don't know how to conduct themselves.
Michael Adams frequents the Fells Point area.
A lot of the juveniles have come in with that, mentality, and they don't know how to conduct themselves.
What mentality is that?
Two tourist areas that we really.
The lack of a prefrontal cortex mentality. He's one of the good blacks, man. He likes to come down here because there's no blacks down here. And now it's blacks down here, and he's upset. Nigga, you need to go hang
He's
up.
in danger.
Yeah, go hang in the black side of town, man. Because see, think about this, with a black guy like that, he'll still cry racism. Like if he go to one of these bars and he sit down at a table and another white couple sit down at the table at the same time, and the waiter come out and serve the white table first, he'll cry racism.
Yeah, they get their drinks first and shit.
Yeah, he'll cry racism. He's still a problem too. You know what I'm saying?
At least he's not a criminal like the rest of his sons.
They're just giving them such a bad reputation, and it's not good for business.
Fox 45 has done extensive reporting on the problems of juvenile crime in the Fells Point area for the last couple of years.
A lot of young kids fighting, so the business is down.
I spoke to this Fells Point business owner in October after shots rang out outside her restaurant. The 16-year-old was shot and injured just after 2 in the morning.
I thought the Fells Point is very safe and good neighbor, and a lot of the people for the being more business.
Along with shootings, our cameras have documented everything from large-scale fights to open-air drinking. From large-scale.
Damn, all sons. Just a group of sons kicking the shit out of somebody, curb stomping somebody. Look at her ass. Just curb stomping somebody. God damn.
From large-scale fights to open-air drinking to countless juvenile curfew violations.
The biggest thing that I see is that there's no accountability.
With the city's youth curfew still a month away, which is not enforced by police.
When you have a system.
So the curfew is a month away. So you got to wait till they get out of school to put the curfew in.
Oh, Lord. Like that's going to stop anything.
That's just sad, man. You need a fucking curfew and shit for fucking any city with black kids, because all the cities gonna do it. They're gonna have it in DC. I know that much. They're gonna have it in New Orleans. Every black city gonna have a fucking curfew.
Well, also, like, we can't fight anymore either. If what's his name? If Karmelo, if he goes free, right? Because
the precedent,
you like every man here has gotten into one fight in their life when they were a kid, perhaps multiple.
Oh yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
But
Me doesn't.
but if we can't do that anymore, because like the blacks will bring us to the lowest common denominator, right?
Right.
So
Right.
that's the next thing on the chopping block. Like your kid can't fucking push another kid anymore because he might get stabbed or whatever.
Precedent.
Society's
That's why I
finished.
say- That's why I say he's cooked. This is not. There's no way they're gonna let that precedent be introduced into the United States of America. 'Cause that's such a dangerous precedent.
Yeah,
It's so sad. It's so sad how many black people I hear that are like, well, you shouldn't have touched it. You know, I'm talking about sensible people, and they say that, and so I just don't touch it at all. It just just kind of remind me of the same kind of people that will be like, call me a nigga to my face, I'm gonna stomp your head out. You know, it's like.
Could you
Like,
imagine
shit like
if
that,
white
then they're not
people
sensible.
and Asians applied the same like reciprocal force model? Like how many black people would be getting stabbed every single day on
They'd be piled up in the street.
Hey, sons will straighten up real quick. Like Ox says, man, they're cowards. When they sense strength and they run from turning their weapon.
Coward is like in their soul, like the spirit of cowardice is in the Sun Man, deep in the Sun Man's soul, man. All you gotta do is look no further than history, man. Look at history, man. Read a history book written by anybody. I don't care who it was written by. Read a history book.
Saying
They're getting their asses kicked. They're getting their asses kicked.
A coward dies 1,000 deaths.
Yeah. Now 1-on-1 though, tough as shit. But as like a unit, we just can't form, man. We can't form. We can't come together. We can't mobilize. We can't activate. The only reason we good in the United States because they allow us to protest. They allow protest is part of the American body politic, where it's just the fucking what's that thing, the Tea Party and all that shit. Protest has been part of America, so we take advantage of that. In other countries where they shoot those motherfuckers with rubber bullets and send out counter protesters, sons wouldn't protest over there.
Another thing is that most of those protests are organized by gliders and juice crews. So
Right, I know. Yeah, that's like so. It's like the Sun Man's allowed to be there. It's like
Yeah, they're the leaders.
Sunman's being organized not by. They're not even being organized by Sun people. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Just that zombie horde that are way to the left, to the right.
Yeah, but 1-on-1 though, son will fuck you up though. Son will fuck
not
you
really.
up.
Most of the time,
the Sun Man hits hard.
No, but don't they jump people? Like they don't fight 1-on-1, especially when it comes to.
I mean, yeah,
but they still hit hard. They get
still,
their
Sun Man
knuckles
hit
hurt.
hard, man. Sun Man hit hard. Sun Man hits hard, man. Very hard.
They hold them accountable.
Many are wondering what's the incentive to turn things around.
What kind of incentive do they have to do better? I didn't do certain things coming up because I knew that there would be some strict and severe consequences.
Now it should be noted.
Oh, really?
Clear of those robberies.
Think about that though. He didn't say I didn't do that. Nothing. I didn't do stuff coming up because I was a good person and I was, you know what I'm saying. And I felt like, I respected other people. He said because it was consequences. So there you go. We need, I told you we need that. We need them consequences. About that, man.
Yeah. But that's
obvious.
Yeah.
The victim described them as all males wearing all black with masks. For now, we're live in Fells Point. Vincent Hill, Fox 45 News.
Hi, I'm Maxine.
Right,
hey, real quick, I got a question. So, since we know that we were just talking about Law and Order, since we know there's going to be a soon loosely based Carmelo Anthony Law and Order episode, how you think it's going to go? What the white dude just bullied him all the way home, and then the Carmelo Anthony stabs him in maybe in his driveway and gets arrested.
It's gonna be woke. It's gonna be woke. It's gonna make the white dude look like a villain. The white dude gonna be a bad person, man. I know that. But I seen the one they did about Chris Brown and Rihanna. Like Chris Brown ended up killing the fucking her manager and shit. I was like, God damn.
Yeah.
They made that shit. They made Chris Brown the character look like a psychopath in that motherfucker.
Right. I saw a Ron Artest one.
Jesus Christ.
And Ron Artest got found guilty. I'm like, that's
wow.
Yeah, but the thing is with Chris Brown is he hasn't stopped, has he? I think he's done it to every successive girlfriend that he's had.
I mean, but you gonna
he's had
get
some kind of
with your
TV.
girlfriend. Listen, man. Newsflash, man. Women love to fight, man. Women love to argue and love to fight. Okay.
I have to check myself then because I've never been in a fight in my life.
No, I'm talking about with your man. Like you love to fucking. Women love to fight with their man. They love to argue and fight with their man. They do. Newsflash, man.
It cures their boredom.
Let's cut the bullshit. Women start shit all the time. When there's nothing going on, you can count on a woman to start some shit. Sometimes shit gets out of hand. Sometimes a motherfucker tired of hearing your fucking mouth and shit. He snaps. Most men put up with so much shit between every slap or every fucking domestic violence incident. That man's done put up with fucking thousands and thousands of days and fucking arguing over stupid shit and accusations and shit. Fucking bad attitudes for no fucking reason and shit. And then he slapped you one time, and then you want to fucking call the police.
They want you. I mean, just not to get too personal, but I had one ex that was like that, would do everything in her power. And every time I'd be like, oh, you want me to hit you? What she would tell me is, I've been hit before. I'm like, oh, you too want me to hit you. Just so you can hang that over my head. Just so you can hang that over my head and threaten to call the cops at your will. So it's like,
you're going to be a victim.
Some kind of violent foreplay, isn't it?
Well, I mean, yeah, that's how she thought love worked. She thought that you sit here and cuss each other out, you fight, and then you have passion, rough sex. Everything's all
like,
good.
oh, he went to jail
3
for
days.
me. He went to jail for me. He loves me.
Yeah, I'm telling you, a lot of these shit.
Women are awful. Okay, women are fucking awful. But it goes to show you that how men how much attraction is, because men we can't like get enough of it. But women are fucking the worst. They keep shit going. They needle you. They'll talk about your fucking mother and shit. Like most people on the street talk about your mother, you fucking kill them. Your fucking wife talk about your mother every fucking other day and shit. They fucking any deep dark secret you tell them, they'll throw it in your face 5 minutes later.
Yeah. And of course, it's not all, but I imagine it might be 65%.
Women
Fortunate enough,
suck,
I got
man.
a wife. I got a wife that's not there yet. That's not on that great shit.
Yeah, women fucking suck, man. But you know what, man? And listen, I've dealt with a lot of different women. Now most of them black. I will say that though. Like, I haven't been like all the other races and shit.
Tasted the rainbow.
Yeah, I haven't tasted the rainbow, but black women, women are women still though. I think if white women are any better, it's just in demeanor. It's not in what they do. It's probably just in the way they do it.
Yeah, they get more creative. They get more creative with their ways of being victims, and it's like I don't know. It's actually worse.
Yeah.
Nah, it's not worse. It's not worse. It's totally not worse, man. I got to tell you.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Well, I just think that
dealt with some sisters. Have you had some sisters?
No, because I have enough sense to know that's like already off limits. Like I already know that. I don't need to like find out. But
I also think it's a class thing as well, because
it's a class thing, which of
most-
course is going to break down on along economic and IQ and racial lines, right?
I don't think class. Listen. Listen, a woman is going to have a fucking when a woman likes you, right? If she doesn't like you, think about it. When a woman doesn't like you, she fucking completely ignores you, or she just uses you. You know what I'm saying? To like build up her ego, and then she'll discard you, or she'll use you to make some other guy she likes jealous, and then she'll discard you. But when a woman likes you, it's like she just all in your fucking, like, I'm talking about, like, just what's wrong? Nothing's wrong. Oh, why'd you say it like that? Well, say it like what? Like, and it's like just shit like that all fucking day.
Yeah.
The worst thing in the world is taking a road trip with a bitch, being locked in the car where you can't just walk away.
Damn.
Yeah, but it depends if you got an argument type.
Your dating experiences.
Hey, what's up, guys?
My God. But I actually think a lot of men prefer the other company of men and get frustrated that they are sexually attracted to women.
I think you're right. I think that's actually correct.
Women to get their rocks off and have children, like they would prefer to be with men.
Yeah, definitely, or alone.
And video
it would be
games.
alone. It would be alone, and then men, and then probably like alone, then men, then like fucking animal, and then like fucking, then maybe women.
A bear hibernating.
No, seriously. I mean, like,
why
women,
it's called a den.
Yo, women keep shit going. Like, especially me. Like, I'm like considered what do they call it? What's that word? It's a saying. It's emotionally unavailable, right? And when you're emotionally unavailable, women give you the blues, man.
You didn't cry at the movie, Ak.
Huh?
You didn't cry at the movie.
Yeah. Oh man, it's hell being emotionally unavailable, man.
Yeah, that's a high bar.
Now, juvenile crime also continues to be a problem. Fox 45's Vincent Hill joins us live with a look at some recent juvenile crimes that have residents questioning if leaders are ignoring the problem. Vincent.
Well, Maxine, from shoplifting to robberies and everything in between, juvenile crime doesn't appear to be going down, and residents say they want accountability. As the mayor touts a reduction in violent crime.
This generation, they have no respect, and it's not demanded.
The problem of juvenile crime is still top of mind for Baltimore residents. Sunday night, police responding to a Canton convenience store.
10 juveniles who were inside the store. They assaulted the manager and tried to steal items. They threw bottles at the manager.
Video obtained by Fox 45 shows juveniles rummaging through the store before a female juvenile pushes the manager into a
That's a
rack when he tried to
female. That's a female. That yo, she's like all up in that dude's collar. Yo, you could have told me this was a female, man. I would have never guessed that. I ain't gonna lie.
Shows juveniles.
And look at the white girl. The white girl doing the right thing. You stay your white ass the fuck out of that, bro.
45.
Look at her. She look like a hood white girl. She look like a trashy ass white girl. She know.
Juveniles rummaging through the store before a female juvenile pushes the manager.
Yeah, she got a neck tat. She knows what's up.
They don't care because they're not made to care.
Baltimore City resident Michael Adams.
If your
S
children
freaks
don't
in the
have
back,
any
Ak.
consequences for their bad behavior, you know, what's to prevent them from changing their behavior? And that's the culture here.
Yeah.
Over the weekend in Harbor East, a group of juveniles taking over the streets on dirt bikes.
It's not good for the local business men and women that, you know, live in these areas and work in these areas.
Yeah, I'm tired of this guy. Let me salute to Michael, man. Michael says, how do we go about pushing Pantheon towards a Candace Owens type arc? except more based. Some people have real potential, and this show is great, but her own channel would be wild. What do you think about that, Pantheon?
Thank you, Michael. I did
Okay,
reply.
Michael.
I did reply. I did say that I've never been liberal. I think Candace was in the beginning, before she switched. But she's made her own path. She has notoriety and fame, which is fair dues to her. But I just like to talk. I have all my I speak to who I speak to. I was like speaking to gliders and watching their face change and be like, yes, I'm saying everything you're silently thinking and have been too afraid to say. So I did, and I already told you, Ag, that I am involved in politics in some kind of way. I will not disclose. But yeah, between my job and externally, like I talk to a lot of people.
So what about YouTube? What would you
Oh, I don't have the energy. I don't have the energy for it at all. That's why it took me so long to...
Huh? See, you broke up.
Internet.
Yeah. That's the UK.
Hey, what's up?
Go ahead. What's up?
Hey, what's up? It's that NY Weekend. How's it going?
What's happening, man? What's going on, man?
Not much. Just give me your follow up from the other night, man. Seeing some sons shooting at each other.
Where at? Where you at? Where you live at?
Yeah, man. Up in Nassau County, New York.
How do you know it was sons?
I watched them.
Oh shit!
Did they flee on foot?
Yeah, man. So I'll give you the backstory. Basically, I work overnight. I clean commercial properties, and so there's one property I got. Next door there's a Spanish joint, and then there's a bar, whatever, and then on the other side there's another pub that mostly black people attend. Where all the sons are at.
Yeah.
So I pull in, doing my job. I normally take my break there, eat my early lunch, and this was about 2:00, almost 2:00, and the police rolled through. They over there arguing. Somebody called the police. They calmed down for a minute. The police, were there for like 10 minutes. They left. So I'm like, all right, do my job. After I finish eating, I hear them yelling again. So I'm like, all right, let me stop and just see what's going on. I pulled over on my lot. I'm right next door. And the beef goes on again, same as before. And then, pop, shots fired. Everybody starts scattering. And then like 10 minutes later, the police rolled up, the EMTs rolled up, and unfortunately, without giving too much detail, I made the call, and then the officer came up to me and said, "Hey, you heard some M80s going off?" I'm like, "Ain't no M80s, it was a shot." He's like, "You serious?" "Yeah, I seen it." He said, "I'll show you where the shot was." So he's like, all right. So I put on some gear so that the leftover stragglers don't see who I am. You know what I'm saying? Walked over. I was like, listen, they shot here. Most firearms shoot eject out the right, so it should be somewhere to the right of me. And it wound up being like less than 5 feet behind me where I showed them. Now I'm a few hundred feet away where I seen it. So we see a little casing on the floor. They're like, all right. But it interrupted me watching your show, man.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
That's a citizen, man. Good citizen, man.
No, listen, at the end of the day, if somebody was shot, people got to react quick. You need emergency, right away. I did security in the early 2000s. I had somebody that was stabbed. I worked the local mall as a manager, and I assessed the situation and got him out of there. And to this day, every time he sees me, he comes up to me and goes, "Oh, you saved my life." And he said, but I'm just doing my job. You know what I mean? You got a couple holes, I plugged them up, threw him on the stretcher, told the ambulance, get the hell out of here. I don't want this guy here. And yeah, I'm not dealing with the politics behind it. You know, then you get the media and all that stuff. You know, as a manager for a private security company, you gotta worry about these things, because then you be on Arc Nation. You know what I mean? So what wind up happening though, that dude, his baby mother, worked with my wife. So yeah, it's a small world, you know. But you know, like I tell my daughter, it ain't snitching if you don't know the person.
Right, and snitching is so played out now because we get to see so many of the gangsters snitch.
Yeah.
They always, somebody always tells.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, you know, that shot went in my direction where I was at, and I was like, yeah, I gotta call this in. You know what I mean?
No. It need to be like that. The black community in the black community and the San Brito community needs to get rid of that. I mean, that whole snitching thing, they just need to get rid of that, man. But I think it's gonna be too hard. I really do think that it's gonna be. I think it's a pie in the sky kind of like thing, because Sons was just so degenerate, man. We're just so degenerate. Like, think about it, right? If somebody had seen you, right? Oh, that's that dude who worked in the buildings overnight. Like, you would have legitimately been like, not necessarily a target, but you'd have been somebody that, like, if they seen you again somewhere, they wouldn't like you and shit.
Oh, I know, and that's why I've been rocking my shield since then. I got my shield on. You know what I'm saying? Just in case. You know, I don't got my sword with me, but I got my shield, because you know, there's certain laws up here in New York. It's a pain in the butt. But I got my shield.
Vest?
Yeah, I got my shield. You know what I mean?
Wow.
I told because listen, I originally, back in 2012, Sandy Hook, me and my wife were in the gun store when Sandy Hook happened. And we look on the news, they had the TVs going, Sandy Hook's hit. I'm like, man, let me grab my stuff and go. Me and my wife grab our ammo, we bounce. This is 2012. That week, I had my daughter having a shield. She went to school with a shield that day on. You know what I'm saying? That's. But a lot of people don't realize. You know, they complain about all this gun violence and what you do. The most important thing you could do is give your child a cell phone. You know, because in an emergency situation, when we were growing up, you had to go find a phone at the front office. There was no phones to call for help to say where active shooter was or something going down. You know, you had to run to a payphone. You had to run a local store. You know, but the most important thing that people did, and they don't realize it, is give your kid a cell phone. But you know, I trained my daughter what to do in a situation. You know, where me and my family are very two-way. You know, she goes to the range with me all the time. You know, she's about to be 21 this year. So, you know, you have to take these proper steps when you have kids, and you assess the threat as needed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the school policy is that the kids couldn't have their book bags behind their desk. They had to be, because she was in elementary at the time. And I went to the school and said, hey, no. After this situation, we're not having this. Her book bag stays with her because it got her shield. And they said, okay, no problem. You know? And even the teachers were like, I wish I had a shield. Well, go get one. Because you never know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I figured I'd give you a heads up on the situation. Detectives called me, but I explained to them, man, they're so far away. There was like 40, 50 people. You know how Sons are. I can't tell who's who. You know what I'm saying? But this is what I saw. This is what happened. I don't know nothing. You know? So now I told my boss, when I go to that location, it's a quick in and out. If I see people, if that store is open, you know. And you know what the funny thing is? The son sister bartender comes out afterwards, like throwing out the garbage, complaining to the police that they shut them down. No, your stupid clientele that come and visit you shut you down. They ain't giving you no money. They don't tip anyway.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They the ones acting a fool, and they shut down your business. Now you can't get tipped for the rest of the night. So it'll probably be like 2 weeks, and then they'll start kicking back up. You know, weather's nice. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I tried my best to conceal my identity as best as possible. You know, with stragglers. But you know, at the end of the day, this ain't the first time I've seen something like that, or even had to, you know, deal with it in court. Going up over the years, I've been to plenty of situations, seen plenty of things, you know.
Yeah.
So, but listen, also with that Karmelo Anthony, just so you know, that son sister judge might not be his judge, because you got to remember, in the court system, every year they rotate. So if they don't go to trial for another 2 years, it might be rotated out to another judge.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. And it's plenty of reasons why, you know, why they can put a different judge on it. You know what I mean? But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that changed, man. Salute to Eric Boatwright, man. Eric Boatwright say, "What's up? I went out to see the Sinners this weekend, and me and my girl went to the black side of Austin. We both noticed we barely are around black people outside of each other. And of course, argument started over a seat." Yeah. I remember a case not too long ago where argument started over a seat at a theater. I think it was Florida. Let me see if I can find
Florida.
it.
Yeah.
You remember that one?
Yeah, they beat up an elderly glider guy. It was a dude, a black dude. Yeah, he had a queen, and dude said like, "Oh yeah, we already had these seats, we reserved them," and the guy just started wailing on him.
Yeah, this is it's like I say, man. Everywhere, yeah, there you go. Everywhere you are, whoever the authority, like we just don't like authority, man.
Christy, this man has quite the story to tell. 63 years old. He says he's still trying to figure out what happened, what drew this man to attack him the way he did. Let's first show you some of that video, that confrontation, that brutal attack that took place here at this Pompano Beach theater, July 10th at about 10 o'clock.
Glider was
see just how
impressive.
crazy this was. He says he was simply trying to get to his seats. He told the gentleman that you're in my seats. He says he got no response from the gentleman. In fact, he says he just got a glare, a hateful look. He describes it a look of contempt. That's when he told them, you know what, just keep the seats. And that's when things turned.
He said, "Go run to your wife, little boy." That's exactly what. And I said, "Excuse me?" I said, "You're the little boy, you know, for acting this way."
Uh-oh.
Oh
no! Don't call me boy.
No.
Call him chicken.
That's what started. Remember, it starts when you respond. You called him, in his mind, you just a white dude that called him a boy. Yeah, you gliders got to stop this with these weak responses. Like, you got to be like gliders in prison, right? Gliders in prison, man, they go hard because, you know what I'm saying, on the sons, man. They don't do that weak shit, man. But I get it, man. I get it why y'all don't, because sons are very scary, man. One-on-one, the son is very scary. Very, very scary. And it's a 63-year-old man, and you're probably thinking, like, if I at 63, if I just stand up for myself, this son isn't gonna kick the living shit out of me. Like I'm 23 years old.
Yeah, like a glider wouldn't, but sons, they don't give a fuck.
Son doesn't care if you're 63. A son will punch you for no reason if you're 63. A sons will be playing a knockout game, and they're walking past 30-year-olds and 40-year-olds. They're seeking out 63-year-olds when they're playing a knockout game because it's easier to knock them out.
That's when things turned.
He said, "Go run to your wife, little boy." That's exactly what. And I said, "Excuse me?" I said, "You're the little boy, you know, for acting this way." And he jumped up out of his seat, said, "You want to fight? You want to fight?" And he caused me to back up. I put my arm out, to keep him a distance away. And then either he pushed me or I fell down the stairs. And like a boxer on the ropes, he had the tactical advantage over me. I was on the stairs, and he just kept pounding away at my head. And I couldn't get him off of me to do that.
And so this is the result, right? These are the injuries you're looking at.
Wow.
So you can see he still
Holy
has
shit.
Jesus Christ.
And he won't even show his face. Like, what's that all about?
Because his face probably is too bad for like, you know what I'm saying? Because YouTube, you can't search. You probably couldn't show like all that, you know what I mean, gore and shit like that.
Yeah, the best way to get out of
I
this
think you just want to remain anonymous. That's why.
you
Go
should
ahead.
just say nothing in these situations. Or okay, Ak is kind of right. Like, there's kind of two ways to do it. I wouldn't recommend it, but if you really, really like shock a son, you might get away with it if you really like step up. But you can't do it halfway. You either gotta say,
No,
bitch
they can
out.
tell. They can tell.
Exactly. You got to do one or the other, but none of the halfway stuff. Because
You
inside of every
got to
gun,
say
man,
some really
or-
foul shit.
yeah, or have a gun, or like just really shock them.
The sons can tell. They can peep like if you're not serious.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
once they
They'll
peep
smell
that,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
gonna like literally like, oh my God. They're gonna
It's
judge
better
you.
to say nothing, like quite literally just say nothing and try to leave, because at least that a lot of the time will let you get out of it if you literally just say nothing. But like inside of every son, man, is like a Carmelo Anthony. They're like looking for that moment for you to give them a reason to just absolutely destroy you.
Yeah, like in this case, the guy's with his
Strike.
wife. He's with his wife. The son man's with his like hot Latina girlfriend. So it was just a combustible situation, like two men with their ladies, and neither one really wants to back down. Like this Latina, she's probably dead. Hopefully he killed her. But she's she, because
That's the real story.
She loves this. She likes this. She thinks this is cute. When it happens to other people, you know what I'm saying? But when he does it to her, she calls the cops.
100%.
She loves this. Trust me. This is like these.
Oh yeah,
like,
she
Cheering
that
at
energy.
she
That
thrives
he's a
off
bad
of it.
boy. He's a bad boy. Like if you were to get in an argument with her somewhere, she would call him immediately and expect him to come and shoot you.
Yeah,
Seriously,
right.
seriously. She would
Yeah.
call him and expect him to come and shoot you.
They cause a
Or
lot
beat
of
you, or
violence
kick
through
your
their
ass.
men.
Yeah.
And he would.
picture so graphic we couldn't really show you. Not to mention he doesn't even want his face out there because he remains fearful that this guy is going to come after him. We should tell you that the reason
Well, there you
detectives
go.
release this video and release these pictures are because they want to be able to find this guy. So take a look at these two full screens, two still pictures where you can see, one, the alleged attacker, two, the person who was with him. Detectives are hopeful that somebody may recognize who they are, and they should be calling Broward Crime Stoppers because detectives definitely want to talk to them. That number is 954-493.
Possible.
You're going to hear more from this gentleman later on today, but for now, reporting live from Pompano Beach, I'm Hatsapala.
Yeah, you can't fight even if it is your seat, it's his seat now. Like, you just got to let that shit go, and then you won't be attacked. He'll swear at you under your breath when you walk away, but like, he probably won't just like knock your teeth out.
Well, if you watch Arc Nation, you just walk around the long way to get to your seat.
Yeah, but you got to understand, when you're with your wife, and she's like, "Oh my God, those guys are sitting in their seat." It's like, "Oh, well, we'll just sit over here." No, those are our seats, honey. It's fuck. And you know what I'm saying? I can't, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Zero situational awareness.
Yeah,
they don't understand. She not gonna understand that. Like, yo, this son man will literally kill both of us and go do 58 years on his head and come home and be like a fucking counselor for like youth and shit.
Violence interrupter.
Yeah, like you don't like in your life will be nothing. You'll be dead for 58 years. You'll be home and shit.
Yeah.
Walking around with a flak jacket and shit in the daytime, and act like he's stopping crime in the community and shit.
Yeah, this is why you can't have you just can't give women shit, or else this type of stuff happens. I don't know, man. But look, if you're 63 years old, do you think it would be better to bitch out or have your old ass woman see you getting murdered by like a gorilla? I think we'll take the first one.
What if you're a Marine though? What if you're ex-Marine? I mean, what if you served in Nam? Like, what if you're a real manly man? What if you're a fucking fighter pilot?
Man,
what if you were in the
every 7-year-old white guy says he's from Nam. Like, how many fucking white guys went to Nam? The whole of America? Like, come on, just like take
Oh,
the
Desert Storm. What if
you
you were in Desert Storm or some shit? Like, I don't know, but all I'm saying is like, what if you like a real man? You know what I'm saying? And you know what I mean? Like, the sons push you, man. They test you, man.
That's true. Yeah, no doubt. That's true. That's true.
Yeah,
honestly,
man.
Know how to fight. Seriously, like every glider man needs to take his son to the gym, boxing gym, MMA, or whatever. But
definitely MMA.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of violence interrupters,
senseless gun violence, and today.
Some Englewood community leaders are calling for a change. A 16-year-old was shot and killed on Easter morning.
Perhaps a new program or
To
service?
combat the violence in this specific area.
Several violence disruptor organizations, the police commander for Englewood, and the 17th Ward alderman are all expected to gather here at 72nd and Green after a 16-year-old lost his life due to gun violence.
Man, it's just changed.
Doc Lawrence grew up near the intersection of 72nd and Green in Englewood. It's a place he once called home.
A lot of things has changed, but getting toward the violence, it's just unheard of.
Englewood first responder founder Charles McKenzie's.
Is that true, Walk?
Who believes that? What he just said. That's absolutely insane. This is Englewood. This is O Block. This is ground. This is not far from O Block, but this is ground zero. This is ground zero.
This is this O Block?
Not far from it. But what is he talking about? This area is one of the most violent. I wish Wicked or Crook County was here, man. This area is one of the most violent areas in the world. Like, not just Chicago, one of the most violent areas in the country. They always say that. This is quiet. It's nothing like this ever happens around here. But you got violence interrupters. Why would you need violence interrupters in a place where nothing ever happens? If one thing just happened out of the blue, you wouldn't need violence interrupters.
Why are they always getting shot?
It's just crazy, man. He did some time. He probably been to jail, been to prison.
72nd and Green in Englewood. It's a place he once called home.
A lot of things has changed, but getting toward the violence, it's just unheard of.
Englewood first responder founder Charles McKenzie says enough is enough after a 16-year-old was shot and killed early Easter morning. He's calling on several
This is the one.
disruptors to come together and demand an end to violence.
As a community leader, I have to step up and step out, and I'm grateful that my community partners came with me and said, let's do it.
He's reached out to counterparts like CPD's 7th District Councilman Joseph William to meet him at 72nd and Green at 5 p.m. so they can try to put a stop to violence in their neighborhood.
We have to come out here because far too long, so many families have been affected by senseless gun violence. And today what we're doing is showing that initiative that we care.
Our data team shows shootings in Englewood have fluctuated since 2014, but there's a general downward trend over time. 2016 had the highest shootings with a total of 440.
So this guy just said, the nigga right here, hold on, where you at? He just said, hold on, let me just hear what he said again. Let me just hear what he said.
Grew up near the intersection of 72nd and Green in Englewood.
It's unheard of.
Once called home.
A lot of things has changed, but getting toward the violence, it's just unheard of.
Okay, so it's unheard of. Violence unheard of around there. So they said this is the highest they had, 400 shootings. But yeah, 300 here, 350, 400. Where we at now? That's 10? That's 1,050. Let's just say another 200, 200, 200. That's that'll be what? Let's just say 1,700. That's another 350, 350. That's 2,400. Let's just give this one 250. That's 2,650, and then we'll just do 200. We'll just do 450. So let's just say that 3,000 shootings. So he said nothing ever happens. There have been 3,000 shootings in that neighborhood since 2014. 3,000 just in that one neighborhood. He said, but that goes to show you, remember, everything's relative. Everything's relative. There probably haven't been 3,000 shootings in the UK, Pantheon, right? Since 2014, right? This is crazy. He literally said it's unheard of. They've had 3,000 shootings since 2014 in one neighborhood. That is absolutely insane. Wow. How can you run a country with people that have that poor judgment or that poor perception?
You can't. Not unless you're using them as a weapon in order to take away other people's rights.
You need to go out and come back in, bro. Your shit is all the way fucked up.
Sorry, I was getting ready. No, there haven't been 3,000 shootings. I mean, if I was in that neighborhood, like a door slamming or car backfiring would make me, swivel my head. So
Yeah, that's crazy, man. And for him to say that it's unheard of around there, Jesus Christ! Like, what did he?
Well, it's background noise to them, isn't it?
Yeah, but no, he's a violence interrupter, and they're having a fucking call to action on the corner to stop crime. And there's been 3,000 shootings in the last 10 years, and he says it's unheard of. All of those things can't be true.
Highest shootings with a total of 440.
You got to appreciate
Last year
how
was cut in
often they
half with
say
a total of 200.
Go ahead, man. I stopped the video. Go ahead.
Had the highest
my
shootings
internet's
with a
fucked up.
total of
They're always
440.
talking about
Last
change
year
and
was cut in
action,
half with a
but they never specify anything.
total of 210.
One shooting is too many, but two on the same block is just entirely too many.
Alderman David Moore says last weekend there was a shooting at the same intersection. This area is not too far from where Alderman Moore camped out last summer to address the persistent problems in the Inglewood community.
There's a connection many times, and so that's why we got to stay diligent and we got to stay proactive.
Police are still investigating what led up to this deadly shooting. Reporting in Inglewood, Sade Gray, CBS News, Chicago.
What led up to this? What led up to it? I think we know what led up to it. I think we know what led up to it.
We need your help. In order for us to solve this crime, the Memphis Police Department need you.
Continuing coverage tonight out of the medical district. A memorial meant to honor a life turned into more tragedy, a deadly mass shooting. We first brought this to you as breaking news on Fox.
So we got a mass shooting in Memphis at a vigil for a nigga who been shot. How many times does that happen? Like somebody gets shot. Like I mean, literally, like. Better yet, you know what the better question is? How many times does that happen outside of the black community? Have any of y'all ever seen a candlelight vigil for a homicide victim of gun violence where someone comes there in a car, drives by and sprays the crowd and kills more people?
Maybe the Umbritos might do it every now and again, but what do you think?
I'm trying to think. Have I seen maybe an Umbrito thing here or there, here or there, here or there? This is very common in Blakistan. I wonder if a white non-mafia, maybe in the mafia, you know what I mean?
An outlaw biker.
Yeah, something like that. But I still haven't heard of it. But I would say that maybe over time, throughout the years, it's probably happened. I could definitely see the mafia, but these is just regular niggas. These niggas ain't. This is no mafia. This is just regular Negroes, man. You said you got to compare regular.
There's nothing organized about this.
Yeah, you got to compare regular Negroes to the mafia.
Fox 13 News at 9 Saturday, 5 people shot, and tonight we now know one of those victims has died. The shooters are still on the run. Fox 13's Rosalind Freeman is live at Regional 1 Hospital, where one of those victims remains in critical condition. Rosalind, you were there at that scene when more gunfire broke out as they were investigating this shooting. We are glad you are safe, but what was that moment like?
Yeah, Carolyn, it was
Oh, they
terrifying.
got a new Bree.
Photojournalists and I were.
They got Bree replacement. Bria. They got Bria's replacement, man. Bria went to Milwaukee and they got her replacement. Shout out to. We need another chunky joint in Memphis, man. Shout out to Darren, man.
I was going to say, Bree was losing too much weight for them.
Yeah.
They needed a fat black woman.
I'm telling you, man. This one, she fits the bill, man. Look how much space she take up in the frame compared to this white lady, man.
But what was that moment like?
Yeah, Carolyn, it was terrifying. Photojournalists and I were gathering information when we had to duck and find a safe spot. It just speaks to how dangerous that situation was. Police say 5 people were shot. 1 has died, and a suspect is still on the loose. I spoke with the community activist who was at the vigil to share how it all unfolded. It all happened just after 8 p.m. Saturday night. Gunfire tore through a vigil at Mosby and Dunlap in the medical district. Ardreas Clark says dozens had gathered to honor.
That nigga definitely been to prison. He goddamn, he a community activist and shit.
Ardreas Clark says dozens had gathered to honor his friend Alicia Stringfellow, a beloved community member.
They ain't have no insurance, so we out there just trying to bring the community. Because when it's love, there's unity. When unity is supposed to be peace, and that's what it was, a peaceful event. And end up, it was a mass shooting.
MPD has confirmed in total 5 people were shot, 3 suffered non-critical injuries, 2 were critically wounded. 1 has now died.
And we just want to tell the community that we are so sorry for this incident.
Police say the suspect took off in a gray 4-door sedan. That vehicle still hasn't been found. Now detectives are asking for community's help in solving this case. Clark says he was standing just feet from the gunfire, and he's calling for more than just prayers.
It's time for enough talking. It's time to get action.
Oh, man. Wow.
Because innocent people's lives are being hurt. daily in the city.
As the investigation continues, so does the heartbreak. What was supposed to be a space for healing turned into a scene of horror.
And this goes from the north, south, east, west, the whole Memphis. It's time to put the guns down, man. Y'all actually hurting people, man.
Police haven't released the name of the victim who died, but we were told detectives are reviewing surveillance footage and asking nearby residents to check their cameras. If you know anything about the gray four-door sedan and what led up to the shooting, call Crime Stoppers at 901-528-CASH. Carolyn.
Jeez. Right.
I do find it interesting to apologize to the community that perpetrated the act.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's like apologizing to desert
shooting in East-
demons. I'm sorry that people don't like you and you're stating Islamophobia when your people did the suicide bombing.
Right. Right. It's just sometimes sun just take you into deep water where you just don't know what you got vertigo. You don't know what up is down or down is right. You don't know where you at.
A shooting in East Flatbush sent 3 men to the hospital last night as police are still figuring out the exact details of what led to the shots fired. News 12's Morgan Scott joins us from Avenue D and Utica Avenue with more on how the community is reacting. Morgan.
Many of the people in this area this morning are headed to an Easter Sunday service at one of the several churches nearby. None of them expecting to hear of 3 men being shot here less than 24 hours ago. Police say they responded to an assault in progress on Avenue D and Utica Avenue around 10:20 p.m. Saturday night. When they arrived, officers saw a 34-year-old man up and alert, but with a gunshot wound to his left ankle. Just a few minutes further in the investigation, they found another 29-year-old man shot in the right calf. They then got a call about a third victim, a 51-year-old man shot in his ankle who walked into the hospital.
Look at the ages. Like 51, 30 to 29. These are grown ass people out here in the street, like banging and shit like teenagers and shit.
On his own. The multiple shootings, a cycle that community members wish they would stop hearing about.
It bothers me, but it's a part of life that I have to deal with, and we all have to deal with in this society. We wish that it wouldn't happen. We wish that everybody would be together. No shootings, no arguments, no fightings, no nothing. Can't have a perfect world.
All 3 men are expected to recover, and police say at this hour, no arrests have been made as they continue to investigate. In East Flatbush, Morgan Scott, News 12 Brooklyn.
Wow.
A massive takedown in our borough. 20 alleged members of a West Farms gang indicted by the Bronx District Attorney's Office for terrorizing the neighborhood. News 12's Heather Fordham is in studio with us to break down the details, walk us through this video of some of the horrifying cases they're connected to. And Heather, most of those indicted were teens?
Yeah, Amanda, half of the people responsible for these shootings were just teenagers when these crimes happened, and 3 of them still on the run tonight. Now, because of their age, they have not been named in the indictment, but that does not stop the DA from charging them with 73 counts ranging from first-degree murder to manslaughter, robbery, and assault. A handful of their brazen shootings were captured on video. Take a look.
They've got to stop
Shots
this
fired on a crowded sidewalk. Kids
non-announcing names, especially with crimes. I just think once you've done the crime, it doesn't matter if you were 12 or 25 or 85. Your name needs to be announced. Because how are you going to do adult things and want child protections on you? Oh, he's under 18, we can't announce them, but they have 72 convictions. And also KB and S Freak are in the back.
And all these are like public places. Look at where they shoot. Like they don't shoot. Like
they're terrorists. They're domestic terrorists.
Yeah, this is bananas. Make sure you support the channel via PayPal, Cash App, or Super Chat. Hit the like button, man. Please hit the like button. These people are There's no regard. Like, think about a barbershop, right? Just to shoot up a barbershop. Like, think about, okay, I got beef with this guy in the barbershop, right? Or let's just say he's sitting in the chair, like, oh, hey, yo, dude, you got beef with in the barbershop right there. To just go stand in front of the barbershop on the sidewalk and just unload my gun into the barbershop. That shit is insane. Like, in order to do that, you gotta be like an animal.
Yeah, no empathy. Like you couldn't imagine yourself being like one of the hairdressers who's completely innocent and not deserving of bullets flying at him just because he's cutting the hair of the ops.
Or he's cutting somebody else's hair.
Yeah, or anyone else's hair. Yeah, exactly. So it's just like
he's helping the ops. He gotta go.
yeah, exactly, right? So yeah, it's just like one player mode. If you have a population and everyone is on one player mode, then yeah, this is what you get.
Even in like the Old West, if the target was in the barbershop, they would, walk in and talk to him and try to shoot him. Wait till he comes out. But this, no.
They would just go for the target by himself. You know what I mean? They would just walk up to him and shoot him, and then that's it.
Yeah, and we saw that like 20 minutes ago with that old glider, because like for a glider, like when we fight a person one-on-one, like we're not like doing it to like cause them pain and get pleasure out of it. It's more of just like proving a point. So like you don't just want to like sucker punch a dude. Like you want like mutual respectful combat. Whereas the son, like, a fight can start and he can attack you like from behind. It doesn't matter where. It's just if it happens, it happens.
Amazing shootings were captured on video. Take a look. Shots fired on a crowded sidewalk, kids scrambling to safety in a schoolyard, and a trigger pulled steps away from a family. These shootings terrorized the borough for more than 3 years. The alleged gang called themselves the 800
Think about that, right? Think about this guy right here, right? Let's just say somebody over here he's beefing with. He could hit someone on a bus. He could hit any car that's coming this way, any car that just comes this way, anybody in any of these. This not being addressed, this being ignored. I really hope, because gliders are slick like this. They got like a whole lab somewhere where people are studying this and trying to figure out what to do about it. They just not telling us, like the Nuremberg report, or what's that thing they had with the codes during World War II and shit? What was that shit?
Navajo code.
The Enigma code.
Yeah, some shit. They had people working on it, but you never knew.
Yeah.
Some shit, some other shit. Yeah, some shit, some other shit. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, or COINTELPRO. That I hope Gliders got some kind of like shit where they're addressing this shit, because to not address this, because this happens so often, to just fire guns in public and random, it's so unsafe. If these summit were going up and just like assassinating people like ninjas, even that would be a problem. You know what I mean? But the way they're doing it is just like, it's just so
the worst.
It's literally the worst option. Like, it's literally the worst option that you could choose. Like, this guy's just standing there. This guy's probably IQ probably maybe in this. If we're lucky, this guy's best case scenario. This guy's got an IQ of 80. Best case scenario. You know what I'm saying? Like, we talking about like just, and he's standing there with a tool that can just kill people, and he's just spraying it into the mass of all these people. He should be charged with attempted murder for everyone over here. You know what I mean? They should go get the cameras and look on the street and count everybody who was there while he was shooting and give him attempted murder charge for all of them.
He's so far away too. Like, there's no way he's going to be accurate.
Right. he's just some little
train or anything. They just think they have a gun and they're invincible. That's how they think.
Yeah, basically.
I think the gliders put all the variables into the supercomputer, to figure out a solution, and it came back and it said no solutions.
Right.
It came back and it just said, all right, you just gotta basically migrate away from these people. That's the best we have currently.
Okay, but here's the thing, right? You're a glider, right? And you migrated out of New York, right? But guess what? You work in New York. So you have to come back. This is rush hour. You come back into the city to go to work, and some fucking ape with his pants like fucking around his fucking thighs and his drawers showing. It's fuck, and he's high as shit. He's shooting a gun into the fucking void, and you just happen to be on the bus trying to get back to the suburbs, and a bullet comes through and fucking blows your fucking head off.
Yeah. And when a glider dies from a sun person, it's probably in like those small snippets of their life when they're traveling to the city, like in those small windows that they have to interact with suns every day. Like that's when it happens. So you can't completely avoid it. You're correct.
It's only a half measure. Maybe just a quarter measure.
Gliders and Juice Crew are like moving to Scarsdale, New York, with the precise intuition of having no black people around them. And then they travel to New York City, for their job.
Yeah. And this shit happened over this when you find out what he's shooting at somebody for. I mean, it doesn't make it any less. I mean, you still
You don't
dead,
even want to know.
But yeah, that's true. How yeah, it's just these.
Dude, is he using one hand?
Operating out of 100.
Nah, he was here both
in
hands.
East 180th Street, right next to a ballpark. The gang has been connected to at least 15 shootings in West Farms. In one case, a 15-year-old shot and killed a 29-year-old man on Walton Avenue back in June of 2022. This violent attack shows children cling to their parents for safety as a masked gunman shoots at their rivals on 179th Street. The DA says the guns recovered were linked to at least 24 other shootings in the Bronx and Upper Manhattan. She says with them off the street, the community can sleep safe.
All handguns.
They should feel safer.
You notice that it's all handguns. All this talk about bump stocks and all this stupid shit the Democrats talk about, getting rid of high caliber, what is it, semi-automatic rifles and shit. Yeah, rifles and shit, and bump stocks and all this bullshit. And all these fucking sons are using this fucking handguns.
In the Bronx and Upper Manhattan. She says with them off the street, the community
And look
can
at the
sleep
DA.
safer tonight.
It's the DA.
They should feel safer, yes, because we had taken down a crew that was causing devastation and havoc. What's important now is that what we do after that, not only just this indictment, but we need to invest in communities. Those same people that want to feel safe, we need to do more to bring in resources to make sure that they continue.
Money.
No,
Those white people's fault. In other words, it's your fault, white people.
We need to prosecute more people. We don't need to
Yeah.
invest. What the fuck?
We need another indictment in the next week, bitch. Fuck you talking about resources? Handing out book bags and turkeys and shit. That shit ain't
But
gonna
you know
stop
what?
nothing.
This just adds to the further point why sons can't live in this country. Because look at how they create a problem that expands on itself. Right? Think about it. The reason why they have plea bargaining and all that shit and they get off easy is because they commit so much crime that they can't take everything to trial. If it was just gliders, everything would go to trial, they would get the maximum sentences, and then there would be deterrence.
Yeah.
You get where I'm going?
No, definitely. The system is like
They overwhelm it.
Corrupted. Yeah, it's corrupted because
It's not designed for some people.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
That's what Pantheon was always saying, and she's right.
Continue to be safe.
7 of the alleged members were just arrested on Tuesday. One had bail set and the other was placed on supervised release. They will be back in front of a
So
judge
they're back on the street.
Yeah.
Like bail was not meant for sons. Like you have to keep them in.
They're danger to society.
Like when you kill somebody, right? And you get and bail was intended, to make sure you come back to court. You know what I'm saying? Blah blah blah. But when you're a little fucking son turd and you shot somebody and then you get out the next day, it doesn't process. You don't think you're gonna live. You don't know if you're gonna live to go to trial. You know what I'm saying? Let alone the it's kind of like they say, don't hit your dog unless you hit him immediately. Like if your dog does something, you have to hit him. If you come home and your dog's tearing up your house, don't hit him for it because he doesn't know what you're hitting him for. Because he tore up the house 2 hours ago, and then you come home and you just smack him. He doesn't know. That shit happened a long time ago. In his mind, he just thinks you just came home and smacked him beside the head with a newspaper. You have to hit your dog immediately if you're gonna discipline him for what he did. Sons, we need firm and consistent punishment. This right here, letting these motherfuckers right back out on the street, they're gonna be shooting shit up tonight.
Also, bail was like kind of seen as like the white man's honor. Like that was like your family name. Like you had to show up, not just because maybe you're gonna not get your money back, but like you were a piece of shit glider if you didn't. So there's like just an unwritten DNA honor code that like, gliders have and, like Japanese people have, but sons just don't. And so bail just doesn't really make sense for them. It's not going to work.
Yeah, it's just the idea of bail.
It's just gliders being weak.
This is insane, man. We're talking about Austin. Fuck.
Austin police are investigating the deaths of 3 people. They happened in the same neighborhood within just 3 days.
The latest homicide happened last night. Fox 7
You
Austin's
smashing
Meredith
off?
Aldis joins us live from APD headquarters with the latest. Meredith.
Rebecca, Micah, all 3 men were found shot in the Mueller neighborhood. Blood-stained concrete in the parking garage of the Aldrich 51st Apartments in the Mueller neighborhood.
19 shots, yeah. I live on the 3rd floor. The parking garage is right there.
Police say at around 9:30 Sunday night, 24-year-old Shamar Roach and 32-year-old Kendrick Parker were found with life-threatening injuries.
Shamar and Kendrick. Jesus Christ. It's always them, man. So this is Austin. And they went woke. They went super woke a few years ago. And they were a very safe city when they went woke. I mean, they were safe. Look at this shit, man. Austin's fucking turning into a shithole.
Despite efforts to save them, they died within the hour. Investigators say Roach and Parker were fighting with a man and woman over child custody when it turned physical. They say the man then shot Roach and Parker. The suspects have been arrested, but charges haven't been filed yet. People who live at the complex say they're not used to this in this area.
Stuff like that doesn't happen a lot here.
No, it don't.
Like I've lived here 4 years, and that's the first time anything's ever happened like that.
But just a few days ago, Angel Santos Martinez was found dead near a creek just down the street.
The fact that the subject had been there for quite some time.
Police say he had been shot, and whoever pulled the trigger hasn't been arrested yet.
I am confident that we will find out who did this.
Residents are on edge, though.
I don't think a female that lives by themselves, that is a young lady, have all this happen and not be scared to come out. I mean, what am I supposed to think or feel?
I'll probably be a more cautious walking to the store in the middle of the night now.
You better call me, girl. I'll go with you.
Austin police says there isn't a connection between these homicides that they know of at this time. Reporting live from APD headquarters, Meredith Aldis, Fox 7 Austin News.
Loss and sadness and
That attack happened at the home of Denton County Commissioner Bobby Mitchell. Her grandson, who lived with the couple, is now in jail, charged with murder. Tonight, a community vigil was held to show support for the Mitchell family. Fox 4's Peyton Yeager was there and joins us live. Peyton.
Hi, Steve. Tonight we are at Westside Baptist Church in Louisville. And all day we've seen support on the city level, the county level, and really the state level after this horrific attack earlier this morning. The pastor here tonight says he's been in touch with the Mitchell family. Bobby is expected to make a full recovery. She had a successful surgery today, but she is grieving the loss of her husband.
We are not alone. Look at all these white people. Look who showed up. Look who showed up. It's almost, what, 90% white people? To honor for this lady, fucking county commissioner.
Started Monday evening inside Louisville's Westside Baptist Church.
Look at that. Where all the niggas at? Because you know she ain't get voted in no area where you ain't gonna have no black county commission in the area with this population. Where all the niggas at? She just got stabbed up by her. I know niggas care about stabbings, right? Stabbing is a bad thing, right? I mean, stabbing is something is of interest to niggas, right?
Church. The Louisville community showed up to support a woman who served them for decades, current Denton County Commissioner Bobby Mitchell. And also remember the man who supported his wife for 50-plus years in marriage, 75-year-old Fred Mitchell.
He was, without question, one of the most supportive spouses. He was comfortable to be wind beneath her wing, to occupy the shadows, and to push her in all that she did. We don't have the answers, but we can at least raise the questions together.
Police say the couple was stabbed early Monday by their grandson, 23-year-old Mitchell Blake Reinecker, who also lived at the home. Just before 4 a.m., a 911 call came from inside the Mitchell residence off Springwood Drive. The dispatcher heard a struggle on the other end of the phone.
The first officer that arrived located a suspect vehicle outside the residence and could hear screaming coming from inside the residence.
Officers able to detain Reinecker. Bobby and Fred Mitchell were rushed to the hospital. Neighbors woke up to a crime scene across the street.
After an Easter day, we were just out here having so much fun, Easter egg hunt, and then we go to sleep at night and something like this horrific happens is really scary.
Bobby is expected to survive. However, her husband later died from his injuries.
That family, you need to hold them in your hearts, in your prayers.
Bobby Mitchell has a long history of leadership with the city of Louisville, described as a woman of incredible faith and a trailblazer. She served as a Louisville City Council member and then was elected to be the city's first black mayor in 1993.
We talk almost every day.
Before she went on to serve Precinct 3 on the Denton County Commissioner's Court with County Judge Andy Eads.
We're so sorry to lose Fred Mitchell. And I'm glad that Bobby is on the road to recovery. She had a very successful surgery today, and I believe that she's going to be physically made whole, and that we're going to be praying for her speedy and complete recovery tonight.
Reinecker is charged with murder and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Detectives did locate a kitchen knife from the scene. Detectives, however, are still working to find out the motive in this case and what led up to this horrific attack.
Man,
That's that seems to happen, man. Like the whole grandson killing their grandma in the black community. Like I feel like we've seen a few of those stories.
Any combination.
Yeah, we seen a lot of that lately, man. The dude
Yeah,
feels
any
the young.
combo.
Yeah, that shit is crazy, man.
That's frightening though. Like to be a woman like that, to think that like your own grandson could kill you that way.
Yeah, it is absolutely terrifying, man. No good deed goes unpunished, man.
100%.
Jeez.
Police and investigators.
A car theft leads to a shootout. One man is in the hospital and another is being held by police. This happened near the 2100 block of 74th Avenue. Surveillance video from a neighbor shows the moments leading up to that incident. MC10's Yukari Nakayama tells more.
Now, several neighbors tell me that they heard several gunshots ring out this morning around 10 o'clock. You could see the damage of that shooting right here. Take a look at all these car pieces and this black car, the subject of that shooting, now being towed. Police say one person remains in critical condition.
It's surprising. First I thought it was just firecrackers, so they do that a lot around here.
Earlier today, police and investigators on scene collecting evidence near 74th Avenue and Briar Road.
Think about what he just said, though, right?
Yeah, he's telling on himself there.
No, but listen, sons, right? The loitering, the litter, the loud music, the fighting.
Yeah, the space invasion, just the general disrespect.
And on top of all of that, they let off firecrackers a lot around there. Nowhere near 4th of July. So it's like they encompass your whole sensory, like they surround, you know what I mean? It's like a whole
They
experience.
terrorize you.
It's like they don't give you any respite.
No, you're forced to acknowledge them. Like they and what's crazy is like they will accomplish all that without even directly targeting you. You just have to be in the area that you share with them.
Yeah, just collateral damage.
Right. Like it's fucking April, and I can see like late June, and even into the middle of July, because people still got some fireworks left.
Yeah, but that'll be the one day they won't do it because 4th of July is racist, right?
Yo, they just literally are pestilence.
Yeah, no, they got pirate DNA. I'm telling you, like they're basically pirates left over from like some early hominid evolutionary period of some sort.
Y'all are lucky that we have low IQ. Could you imagine if we also had high IQs? Could you imagine if we were also industrious?
Because it's not just IQ that sets some people apart; it's their sociopathy.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's
lack of empathy.
Yeah. Because no, you're right. Yeah, if they had high IQ, but they still had like the psycho behavior, yeah, you everyone would be like a Hitler, basically.
Yeah, they'd have done some serious science experiments.
Yeah, like they do some awful stuff on a wide industrial scale.
What was that new guy?
Like they would be able to accomplish, because they do terrible things as a demographic of one son doing bad things. But if they were high IQ, they would accomplish these behaviors on statewide scales or industrial wide scales. And that would be very bad, obviously, because gliders could do that. Like they have the industriousness to do that, but like we don't. Like we think about that type of shit. Sure, like gliders have done war and stuff like that, but like in general, we don't, as a group, try to fuck shit up for no reason, right?
Yeah, I mean the Juice Crew, they wouldn't stand a chance. They would be nothing compared to the Suns if they had high IQs.
Like think about
how we're
Period.
told like all the time how white people are evil and World War II and Nazism and all that shit. Like, think about what was required for that type of stuff to start. You know, it was like gigantic economic disagreements between different states of gliders that had millions and millions and millions of people living in them. Like, it took a lot in order to get all of that type of violence and stuff. It's not really a thing that normally happens.
That's
But
what the Sons don't realize. They want to talk about glider violence and how we're violent and all that other shit. I'm like,
yeah, it's so disingenuous. Like, they will pretend like,
That's their calling card.
they'll pretend like a war between two nations is anything compatible to just a not wartime society that has black people just killing each other for no reason, and they're not obviously comparable.
Yeah.
Well, they don't want to claim that, like, Europeans invented warfare, but they wouldn't want to say anything like that. So they're kind of in a bind.
Yeah, they say we invented warfare and all that other stuff. Like, we didn't invent warfare. We just made warfare more industrious. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like, and all that other shit. It's just bullshit, really. Like, okay, we're so violent, but then how come, like, white neighborhoods are so safe and peaceful?
Yeah, like a quote unquote bad thing, gliders could do it better for the same reason they could also do quote unquote good things better than Sons could, because we're just fucking better at doing things in general.
Yeah.
Right. Man, great show, guys, man. Any final thoughts, man?
No, that final conversation definitely was good. That was it. That was good.
Yeah, salute to the nation.
Thanks,
Same black time, same black channel. Out of here. Subscribe.
Salute.